Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I'm having such a hard time. Somebody fire me up about Sunday.
It's hard.
I just can't get up for this.
Well, here's the thing, okay?
Why do I care, Bull?
You still, and this has to do with something I'm going to rant about in email in just a minute, but before we do that, you still want your team to win.
No doubt.
Right? You'd like them to win
inertia
12
into
games.
the playoffs.
The good news about this game is if you lose, it's a no deal.
Yeah.
But if you win, it's a nice little bonus because you won with a bunch of backup players. Now,
True.
I'm not going to lie. At this point, I actually prefer the Bengals lose the game because
helps them with the draft pick.
might as well get a higher draft pick, right?
Right,
They
sure.
can't do anything with the win.
Yeah.
But for the Browns, it's just kind of it's a nice little bonus if you win.
Bonus game.
It is hard to get it. It's not quite an exhibition game, preseason game, but it's not.
It
far
feels
off.
like it to me because usually by Thursday I'm in go
Fired
mode.
up.
I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go. I can't wait for the game.
Yeah.
And on this one, I'm like, even if we win, it's a testament to your backups and your depth, which is important in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
But gosh, I can't get the motor started.
It's like, when I go back to playing, it's just like when people say, the coaches always talk about finishing. And so in this case, you're like, wouldn't it be great that the Browns didn't have anything to play for? And they still came out with the JVs and won.
Yeah.
That's always been a sign to me that you really got a good program, that when your JVs play, the JVs even run the system.
So that's
good.
true. Yeah.
And I guess, hey, is Pierre Strong going to get 15, 20 touches this week? I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Is Cedric Tillman and David Bell going to get targeted 10 times each? I'd like to see what they do with that.
And what does Jeff Driscoll look like?
Right.
I mean,
That's another one.
Is he going to be the backup quarterback if Flacco goes down? Are they going back to PJ? So there are definitely individual things that I'll be looking for, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm trying to get excited. I just want the playoff game to get here. That I am super excited for.
Will you be watching the AFC South games?
Yes, absolutely.
Because
do you guys have a preference? Let's pick our preference.
We're doing it tomorrow. You guys just took the whole preview of tomorrow's show.
All right.
In the first 2 minutes here.
We just took
Who do you want to see play?
I just have so many questions.
Yeah, right.
From Driscoll, who do you root for? That is
All right.
All
right. How do we make Sunday interesting? Is the theme of tomorrow's show.
Yes. Before we get into today's topics, which is going to include the Pro Bowl, we're going to talk a little Joe Flacco, who should sit, who should suit up. We do have to give a shout out to a local kid, Marquise Davis, junior running back at Cleveland Heights, was named the 2023 Ohio Gatorade Player of the Year. He rushed for nearly 2,100 yards, 33 total touchdowns, 56 tackles for Cleveland Heights. He's a top 200 prospect in the class of 2025, the 15th rated running back. Has offers from just about every school in the country, so shout out to Marquise Davis.
Has not yet committed.
A local kid has not yet committed.
I'll say this. It's worth the time to – I looked at his highlight reel around the time of the state championship games. Somebody sent it to me. Go look at it.
Fun.
It's worth the time. Google this kid. Watch his highlight reel. He's special. As most – when you win Ohio Football Player of the Year, you're doing something.
Because you got Columbus, you got Cleveland, you got Cincinnati, you Dayton,
and a lot of D1
Youngstown,
players,
and a whole bunch of D1 guys. So, in 2,000 yards, that's crazy.
Top 5. We talked about this either yesterday or the day before. I mean, Ohio is one of the top 5 or 6 states in terms of high school talent. So to be the best player in the state,
that says something.
And
go back and look at the players that have won that award.
Yeah,
a lot of them are drawing paychecks
it's a
right
damn
now.
good list.
You aren't kidding. Very impressive.
No
and
joke.
the most impressive thing to me, he could have easily, I'm sure, went to St. Ignatius or Ed's.
Right.
But he stayed at a local school and he
cool.
balled out. I think that's cool.
Yep,
I like that, G. I like
loyal
that.
to his city.
Shout out to Marquise Davis. Hell of a season. He's coming back next year. If you want to see him play, go check out a Tigers game. He's about 20 minutes away from downtown Cleveland. Bull, you have a story you got to tell us, though.
Yeah, let me talk about his email for a second. This was wild. So yesterday, I get home and I check my email, and you know how when you look at your email, it says who it's from, like Joe or Mark or G. Bush or whatever.
Whatever their name is that they sign up under.
Okay, so the name from this guy was Get a clue. You can see it here. Get a clue. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty small. Get a clue UCSS. So
that's what he's.
That's what I saw. That's his name.
Bro. You gave this guy.
Yeah.
He would have immediately gone to my delete box.
Well,
in a second.
But I like to know what they say. I'm always fascinated.
Don't feed the cats.
But here's the best part. This guy sent me an email. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read a little bit of it. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs.
Okay.
Okay? Let me give you a little bit of what he said. Everyone on UCSS, including you, as well as all other Cleveland sports personalities, continue to say that Week 18 win against Cincinnati is meaningless. So when I read that first paragraph, I said, okay, he's going to say winning 12 games gives you momentum.
Sure.
Or the Browns have only won 12 games once since the 50s.
Feel.
The emotional of keeping it going. But he said none of those things. No. He said, you are wrong. A Week 18 win, giving the Browns 12 wins on the season, is critical.
Critical.
Home field advantage in the divisional round. A Browns win.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Oh, well, then this guy's automatically
let him keep
disqualified
going.
for being uninformed.
Completely
Bro,
lost.
we can't get home field advantage in the playoffs with a 12th win.
No.
And by the way, thanks for watching.
We like you.
The only he went on to say if they lose and have 11 wins and the Dolphins win, then they wouldn't have home field advantage against the Dolphins.
Oh, this poor soul.
Whoever you are too gutless to give your name. The Browns, if the Dolphins win the East, which they will if they beat the Bills, they will have home field advantage against the Browns no matter what their record is. The Browns will not have home field advantage unless they play the 6 and 7 seeds in whatever round in the playoffs.
Which is almost incalculable to figure the odds of that.
But
all the wild cards have to beat all the top seeds.
Exactly. But whether they win or lose Sunday against the Bengals is a non-factor in that.
It won't change that.
Nothing.
So, you know what this is? You know what? You're right, Bull. I would have deleted this immediately because I'm like, if you took the time to sign up for an email account and that's the account name, you already tell me you're a frustrated wannabe TV or radio sports personality.
Yes.
And you think that because you impress your uncle and your brother on Sundays with your football knowledge that you're able to host a show.
Yeah.
And you want to be, Bull.
Yeah.
So automatically disqualified.
Yeah.
But this reminds me of the old Saturday Night Live. I'm going to date myself. The old Saturday Night Live skit where Rosanna Dana used to come on the Saturday Night Live update desk and she would rant about something for 2 minutes. She would say, I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. And then in her thesis statement, she would be factually incorrect.
Right. Yes.
And then Chevy Chase would shake her and say, Roseanne, that's not actually what happened. This happened. And then the skit would end by her saying, Never mind. That is exactly what happened in this email.
And what was impressive is that he went on and on. I mean, it took me like 5 minutes to read it.
So he took the time to create an email account to tell us how dumb we are, and then he's the dumb one.
He's completely lost.
Thanks for
Every
watching.
argument he made is wrong.
Thank you so much for watching. Yeah.
The Browns will not have a home game against a team that won their division. That's it.
Bro, I want you to go physical pantomime for me right now.
Yeah.
You're Ted Smith living in your mom's basement, and you're the one that fired off that email.
Yeah.
And you're watching Bull right now set the record straight and tell you basically, bro, you're wrong.
Oh, my God.
What is his physical demeanor right now in his basement? You know what he is? He's the Homer Simpson meme where he just slides back into the bushes.
Although maybe he still thinks I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know where he got that information from.
Here's the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes people believe we are the news to some people, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you say something incorrect, we have to come on and say, hey.
Absolutely.
We got it wrong.
That was on me.
And by the way, we've all done that.
Yes, we've all done it.
But primarily, we're not an information show.
Right.
We're an opinion show.
But if we get something wrong factually, you want to correct it.
You have to correct it. It's our obligation to correct it.
So tell the people the only very narrow scenario in which the Browns in the second round, because that's what they want to know. How can we get a home second round playoff game?
The only way. Okay,
we can't earn it Sunday.
No. Do we all assume the Bills are going to beat the Dolphins? Or should I go by what? Let's go by what the standings are right now.
It doesn't
that's
actually
fair.
matter, Bull. The only way is if all 3 wild card teams win.
That's
The
it.
only way the
Right.
Browns
That's
is if
that's
all 3
it.
wild
So
cards
right
win.
now, the Browns are the 5, the Bills are the 6, the Colts are the 7.
Yeah.
Let's say that's how it ends.
Right.
It probably won't, but let's say that. The only way the Browns would have a home game in the second round is if they win, the Bills as the 6th seed win, and the Colts as the 7th seed, which is not impossible.
No,
but
it's
that's
not, but
the
it's
only
unlikely.
way.
But I think a better way of saying it is
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4 all have to lose.
That's right.
They all have to lose. That's
if
it.
that happens, then the Browns in this case would
Host
the Bills,
one game.
who's the 6th seed.
Right, so they would host
Yeah.
one game,
Right.
and if the Ravens lost
the
their
7th
opening
seed,
round game, which would be the divisional game,
then the Browns would host
the Browns
again.
would host the AFC Championship
And
game.
of course, these
But
things
that's
are
the only way.
possible, but nothing the Browns could do this Sunday against the Bengals will change any
They've
of those
already
permanent
earned
things.
that.
That's right.
By being the top wild card seed.
They are going to be the 5 seed no matter what happens this
I said
weekend.
this yesterday on Channel 5, on the 5 o'clock show on Channel 3, and everybody looked at me like, that can't be right. I said there's only one team in the NFL that has more wins than the Browns.
It's true.
Right, there's some that are tied.
Of course.
Yeah,
No, but factually correct. And then I also said the team that has more wins than the Browns is the 1 seed in the AFC. Another team that has as many wins as the Browns, the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Browns have beaten both of those teams.
That's correct.
So, I mean, there's all kinds of reason for optimism, but there's nothing to get excited about in terms of Sunday's game.
No.
It's really funny. I did not know you were going to rant about that. I just wanted to open the show by saying, gosh, I wish I could get excited.
Right. You get excited by watching the Jaguars, the Colts. The Jaguars.
that's it.
Well,
That's
the Colts
it.
are playing the Texans.
Yes.
And then the Jaguars play.
And that's a winner
Titans.
get in, right? Whoever
the
wins
winner
that
of that game is in.
It's a playoff game. That game is a playoff
The winner of
game.
that game is in, and if the Jags lose, the winner of that game is the division champ.
All right.
Yeah, lots to play for on Sunday. We're going to talk all about the game in specific on Sunday tomorrow and who to root for in the AFC South matchups
A rooting
tomorrow.
guide.
But today,
A rooting
it's
guide.
a rooting guide. But
Yeah.
today, we're focusing on some Pro Bowls and some other things. But first, as always, the NFL regular season may be wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 for new customers in bonus bets, win or lose. And the app, the best part about it is that it's so easy to use, and they have so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explorer tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And today's winning ticket comes from our friend So Lyle, who hit a 13-part same-game parlay in the Orlando Magic Golden State Warriors game last night and turned $10 into $535, a 55-1 payout on a 13-part same-game parlay for our guy So Lyle. If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you send it to us on Twitter, email it to me at mlucas2@tegna.com, and we will feature it on the show. Let's talk Pro Bowlers, guys.
Wait, before we do, did you reply to the emailer?
I did not. I figured I would reply on the air. 'Cause I'm sure he's watching. So
You know what?
Yeah.
If he's not,
Yeah.
and it's likely that he watches every second of every
true.
day that we do a show, I would still reply and
and just
say,
said, you're wrong.
You're
That's
wrong.
it.
That's it.
Everything you said
Get
is wrong.
informed.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
That's right.
So as I was saying, Jay,
Yeah.
5 Browns made the Pro Bowl. 6 got selected as alternates. Let's start with the 5 guys who did. We did an overtime yesterday. We tried to predict, and none of us had Bitonio on there, but Bitonio was one of the 5. So let's start with the 5 guys who made it as actual legitimate Pro Bowlers to begin with. Who's the biggest surprise of the 5, and did they get it right?
Not only did Bitonio make it, but he's a starter. He's one of only 3 starters. Bitonio is a starter, Myles Garrett's a starter, and
Denzel Ward.
Amari Cooper.
No, Amari Cooper is the 3rd starter. The biggest surprise on that list is Bitonio. I think Bitonio got the I've been there before vote.
The legacy pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's an all Ohio thing. Oh, you made all Ohio as a junior? All you got to do is be breathing and make it as a senior.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, I thought Wyatt Teller had a better year than
I agree.
Bitonio. And
Teller's an alternate, but
yeah, so
I agree. I don't think either of them played at a Pro Bowl level, in my opinion, this year. I think they were both good, but not Pro Bowl level.
Because both were asked to do so much in terms
That's
of
fair.
babysitting tackles on their side that they weren't used to. I think maybe their play, and who knows, maybe the executives and the coaches that put votes in looked at that and said, they were asked to do more than they should have been, and that line is still a pretty damn good line. Mm-hmm. But I just think the other four are definite slam dunks. And again, I have to preface all this by saying it's offensive line play.
It's hard.
Know.
It's hard.
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
And
Yeah.
that's
really
even more murky because
Right.
offensive line play is just once you get a name. Like everyone knew Hutchinson was great for the Vikings.
Right.
Everyone knows, like, okay, well, you're good, they'll put you in.
Right.
But my thing, the glaring issue is there's no Emerson. There's no Emerson to be found.
Emerson not even getting an alternate was a surprise.
I thought, to me, that was the biggest
That was
for the Browns.
I think Dustin Hopkins should have been the starting kicker. He's had a better season than Justin Tucker. That was a legacy vote as well.
Yeah, but I'm surprised, like, how did Dicker not get it?
Well, these are the two comparisons
that's
to
true.
the guys who made it as the kicker and the alternate.
I
Cameron
think
Dicker
Dicker
had
didn't
just
get
as
it
good a
'cause he
case as
didn't-
anybody. But
Dicker
you look
had
at
the
these two
best
side
season
by
of anybody.
side.
I think what I said yesterday factored in. His kicks didn't matter.
Yeah.
I think that matters for kickers.
Yeah, these are both playoff teams. Both of these guys. You know what, though? I know that it seems like all of Hopkins' misses we remember, oddly enough.
Yeah, right.
But Justin Tucker's miss against the Colts
Cost them the game.
cost them the game.
That
And
eight-
if I'm not mistaken, he might have missed 2 in that game.
I
That
think
would
he
have
did
won
miss
it.
2 in that game. I'll
I
double check.
watched the fourth quarter and
Yeah.
overtime, and I'm pretty sure he missed 2. One of them may have been an extra point.
Yeah.
The most impressive things from Hopkins, 8 for 8, 50-yard plus.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
Because that was his weakness.
That-
Remember, we said
because
he's only hit half of his kicks over 50.
Right.
He's
That was the
stretched
biggest
field.
concern, and he's been lights out in that situation. And a lot of those 50-yard kicks have been
I thought so.
important kicks to either tie a game, win a game, in big moments.
Tucker, I'm just told because I thought that's the way I
Yeah.
remembered it, missed an extra point late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And a field goal in the Colts game, and that was one of their 3 losses.
Man, look how many more touchdowns the Ravens scored than the Browns.
Yeah, that's a problem. Isn't
That
it?
is. The
a
Browns
problem.
probably went for 2 a little
However,
more.
I
but
bet
still.
if you look at the December numbers, we've probably scored more touchdowns than they have.
Oh, yeah.
Since Flacco's
Certainly.
They just scored 8 last game against Miami.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
I forgot about that.
That's
Yeah,
true.
holy cow.
And
They
both
had a
raced
few
San
games where they
Francisco,
just
too,
killed
yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
If Grant Delpit would have been healthy, and here's the thing, I think Hopkins, Bojorquez, and Grant Delpit, if they would have been able to play and finish out the season,
They would have been on,
They
you
would have
think?
been on. I think
I
they just
actually-
missed too many.
I think Emerson not being an alternate. I think Greg Newsome, I thought, might have a chance to be an alternate too.
do, too.
He really fell into. I mean, that role as the slot corner has become a big time role for him. The JOK thing is interesting. What none of us really thought about yesterday is that he's competing against T.J. Watt and other 4-3 outside
Yeah,
linebackers.
which really isn't fair.
Yeah.
But
That's
they're
stupid.
They're technically
Yeah.
they're linebackers.
They
but,
should-
I mean, how often do they line up
Right.
4 yards off
Those
the ball?
guys-
Wait, but hold on, real quick. This is why I have the biggest issue with this, and I understand making a Pro Bowl, and actually I'm kind of pissed off about this. And I understand Pro Bowl nods in the grand scheme of things don't matter. Tyler Huntley is a Pro Bowl. Joe Flacco never
Well,
had
they
in his
matter
career.
in terms of bonuses. to
Exactly,
some
but
guys.
when you vote for all pro teams, T.J. Watt's considered an edge rusher. That's not defensive end and
Yeah.
outside linebacker.
Yeah.
The all pro teams, they're designated as edge rushers.
Right.
And JOK is not in that category. So you're going to tell me that players and fans and coaches vote for these different awards, and in one of the categories, T.J. Watt is properly placed with edge rushers, which he's going against Myles
It
Garrett,
doesn't make
Max Crosby.
sense.
But for the Pro Bowl, he's in the same category as a weak side linebacker, off-ball linebacker like JOK. Make that make sense to me.
For the Pro Bowl,
I can't. It
there
doesn't
should
make
have been a separate category. There should have been. They had 3, kind of 4-3 linebackers like T.J. Watt, and then they had 2 inside linebackers. They should also have 2 guys like JOK, outside linebackers.
I agree.
In the
Off-ball
4-3.
linebackers, absolutely.
I agree 100%.
And then he would have probably. I mean, I don't know where. Unfortunately, we can't find a list of because some guys are first alternate, second. I don't know where JOK was. I assume he was a first alternate, but I don't know
Why
that.
is that list not available?
I couldn't find it
I couldn't
anywhere.
find it either. I
I
was
dug the
searching for it.
depths of the internet. I'm pretty damn good. If you tell me to find something, I'm pretty damn good at being able to find it.
Right.
I couldn't find an alternate list anywhere. And the Panthers, for example, tweeted out that they had 4 Pro Bowlers. One guy actually made it, then they had a first alternate and 2 fourth alternates.
Yeah, right.
Like
That's
a fourth alternate to the Pro Bowl, you can't celebrate that. But I can't find anywhere to argue like
Yeah, I
MJ
think teams
Emerson.
put that out separately, and the Browns didn't do it.
We throw the analogy sticks today too. These are citizenship awards.
Yeah.
Like they're spreading it out.
When you're
so
going 4 alternates.
deep.
I mean, hell, there's only 16 teams in the conference.
They're just trying to get more and more names involved. Like you know, like it helps the awareness of certain guys.
Also, I think in years past they get burned because usually the two teams with among the most nods for the Pro Bowl end up not being able to play.
Right, they're in the Super Bowl.
So you do need, and then we've seen in past years where a lot of guys pass. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
So now you have to go down to that 4 or 5th.
Sure.
You know? So I
Sure.
think that's probably why they name 4 alternates, just so they can automatically have a next man up.
They used to
when the
just
players-
pick them later, but now they do this with the alternates.
They did.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting. Patrick Mahomes made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, that was garbage.
Which I disagreed.
I disagree with
He
that.
made it
Over
over
Josh
Josh Allen. He made it over who else? Oh, over C.J. Stroud.
I just didn't like it. He hasn't had a Pro Bowl season.
And Matthew Stafford got the 3rd quarterback spot over Jared Goff, which was a little surprising, but Stafford's had an amazing season.
If you listen to MJ Emerson, listen, man, I saw you on your pregame show, and they talked about how you memorized all the 9 guys in the corners that got drafted ahead of you.
Oh, did he say that?
Yes, he remembers all
I
the 9.
love stuff like that.
Now, you got really super snubbed because some of these stats I didn't even know. No touchdowns allowed, a 47.8 passer rating allowed, lowest of any quarterback, cornerback in the NFL. And on top of that, he played in every single game. Denzel Ward hasn't played in every single game. Yeah. He's missed multiple games.
The no touchdowns allowed is impressive.
So how can he do any better? I mean, you know, people talked about 4 interceptions this year, a lot of pass breakups. So my thing is, if you look at it,
the receptions allowed that stands out?
I don't
Because
know.
He's 46th on that list.
no touchdowns is hard.
But everything else is
touchdowns is
sensational.
very impressive.
And he's going against the number 1 corner, especially if Denzel's not there. The number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you got screwed.
I
on
think
this one.
he's the only. I think he got screwed the most.
I do too. Yeah.
I think JOK got screwed the most in terms of not being a Pro Bowler and being an alternate.
Right.
But that was just because the way they do the Pro Bowl.
But you know what? By and large, I'm super excited about
Yeah.
the showing. That
Sure.
the rest of the league and fans are stepping up, saying, "You guys had a hell of a year."
It is a little weird to me that everybody around the league agrees the Browns have the best defense, or maybe 1A, 1B with the Ravens. And yet, including alternates, only 4 players on their defense made it.
Well, they set you up for this, bull.
Yeah.
Clean Sloop in awards for the Browns. Coach of the year,
Assistant Coach of the Year.
Assistant of the year. They going to get also Defensive Player of the Year, and I think they should have Comeback Player of the Year. I think the Browns should have all 3. Good case for it.
We're going to talk about that in just a little bit because the Comeback Player of the Year vote is going to be really interesting. Really interesting. You talk about the Citizenship Award.
Listen.
I think we might see that handed out this year. And I don't want to disparage Demar Hamlin. What he's done has been incredible, but does he deserve the award for the best comeback of 2023?
Is that next? Are we getting to that next?
No, that's next.
I got 2 more questions for you guys on the Pro Bowl stuff before we move on here. But in the past, the Browns obviously have not had a roster as talented as they have now, and there were 4 teams last night who were left without a single Pro Bowler. The fact the Browns had 11 players at least get recognition.
Right.
That's 20% of the roster, essentially.
Yeah.
And I do think, and Tyvus did it yesterday, and I think we all agreed, Andrew Berry, it's a testament to the roster building here that he has put together a roster where 20% of the roster is getting consideration for the essentially all-star team.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, he didn't acquire all those guys.
No, but I'm just saying the overall construction here, like he
Myles
has
and
helped a lot of these
Denzel
guys.
were previous, right?
And
Njoku.
too.
And Njoku.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And Bitonio.
Okay, so only one of the 5 starters, Cooper, was a move that he made.
Yeah. Was Wyatt Teller Berry? Or was that the last? Was that?
I think that
John
was
Dorsey?
No, I
John
think it was
Dorsey.
Dorsey. I think it was.
Dang, John Dorsey, thank you. I
Well,
saw him in the gas
some of those
station.
guys are not Dorsey.
Is he still in Cleveland?
I think he's still. I saw him at the gas station about 3 months ago.
Wow.
Can you
He
double
had his
check,
little
Mike,
he had his little
when the Browns
Lions
got Wyatt
shirt
Teller,
on.
what year that was? Some of those guys are pre-Dorsey. Myles Garrett's pre-Dorsey. Myles Garrett wasn't
Sasha
drafted by
Brown.
Dorsey.
Wyatt Teller was
Yes.
acquired in 2019.
What's that? Who was?
Acquired Teller 2019.
Yeah, so that was Dorsey.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what we thought. So one
That
of
was a
the
great
5
trade.
starters,
Very great.
Cooper, is Andrew Barrett.
I think the Browns gave up like a 4th or 5th round pick for Wyatt Teller. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah.
And
It is.
Dorsey got Nick Chubb too.
Yeah?
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting.
He got Chubb too.
But I think Njoku was part of when they took the 3 guys in the first round with Peppers and
Yeah, he also Peppers is also on his watch too.
Yeah.
On Dorsey's
I forgot about Peppers.
Yeah.
He didn't
How
do-
could you forget about
He
him?
didn't do nothing. Like I'm like y'all got him playing in the muni lot, bro. Like, hey, Greg Williams, let this man do something. No,
Yeah.
Peppers is a deep,
Nope.
deep third.
35 yards off the line of scrimmage.
at least he's
That
still
drove
in
me
the
nuts.
league,
He
unlike
is,
some of these other
right?
guys.
Yeah,
they
true.
drafted, but-
Right?
He got
But
caught
yes.
on an open mic telling I think a Jets player.
Oh, yeah, right.
After the Jets beat the Patriots, you lucky we trash.
Yeah, right.
And then one more thing real quick.
Yeah.
But I guess that fans have voted on this for a while, Bull.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with fans accounting for 33% of the vote
The
here?
other 2/3 is, you said in our note that it was just coaches and executives.
Coaches and executives, yes.
Players don't have a say?
Not in the Pro Bowl, no.
I didn't know that.
I thought that seems like a
I thought the
well, how did the
players-
fans do? Like what?
Well, give me a position. I'll tell you how the
Like who did the fans vote for at quarterback?
I got to pull up. Ian Rappaport tweeted out last night. Quarterbacks. Now,
Yeah.
it's not by division. It's by just overall votes.
Okay.
Brock Purdy, quarterback. Brock Purdy had the most votes. Tua second, Mahomes third, Prescott fourth, Allen fifth, Stroud sixth, Lamar seventh, Goff
Wait.
eighth.
Is that fans or executives?
Fans. This
Yeah,
is
Okay,
that's
the
wrong.
fans are way lost on
Lamar
that one.
7th?
Lamar 7th.
Seventh.
First of all, I thought Lamar not being the starting quarterback for the AFC is a miss.
How is that possible?
I don't understand
Wait,
it.
who's the starter?
Tua.
Well, and this is my point.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is why I
that's
kind of
wrong.
have
And
an
that
issue.
they just missed that.
Yeah, that's
I
wrong.
kind of have a big issue
Lamar's
with something that holds
going to be the MVP of the league.
Yeah, Lamar's been
financial
way better than
incentives
Tua.
being in the hands of fans. Give me another position, Ball. I'll read you the fan vote.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Wide receiver.
I bet they don't have Cooper.
Amari Cooper is not in the top 10. Tyreek Hill, number 1.
There you
Brandon
go.
Ayuk, number 2.
It's
Deebo
a
Samuel,
popularity
number
contest
3.
with
That's
fans.
true.
Debo Samuel is not number 3. Like he is not number 3.
Yeah, no.
Like,
He hasn't had a great
So
year.
the top 4 in the wide receiver vote, 2 Dolphins, 2 49ers.
So let me
Which
ask
is
you guys
weird
this.
because the Dolphins are not generally a popular team.
No, but you know what? Their speed core
Yeah.
has put a lot of fans on the
That's
Dolphins
true,
bandwagon.
that's true.
They're fast.
Madden
They're fast. I love them. Madden. That's
bro,
the Madden impact.
I never would have thought this. The Madden cult is so strong.
It is.
Like these guys will they dictate it. Like the online, it's all about the Dolphins. It's
Yeah.
all about the
And
Dolphins and how fast they are. That's it.
That's it. So there's no player vote, and surprisingly, there's no media vote.
Yeah.
No media for this.
I just think their process is wrong.
So
Yeah.
here's
The
the
players
tweet.
know,
Weird.
Bull. I got to tell you, I know sometimes players will vote for friends and
Yeah.
former teammates, but by and large, there's enough players that they're going to get it right.
But I
they
think-
know. I love when
Yeah.
you ask a defensive back, who's the one wide receiver you most hate to guard?
That's why
Like, they're going to give it to you. They're going to tell you straight.
That's
Right.
why I respect the NFL top 100. Like when
Yes.
you would-
That's from the,
like
but they get plenty wrong on that,
They
in my
do.
opinion.
But some of them they do get but there is a
Fans
little bit
putting
of
Lamar
insight
7th is just egregious.
Yeah, that's
where the
crazy.
fans are like, no, this guy's way underrated.
Well,
Like,
where did the executives put Lamar, Mike?
They didn't release that. They just released the
Okay.
fan vote. But this is the exact tweet from Rappaport. Pro Bowl
Yeah.
rosters will be announced at 8 p.m. tonight on NFL Network. But before all that, here are the top vote getters by position from the fan voting, which counts for 1/3 of the process.
Okay.
Coaches, front office count for the rest.
Amari
Yeah.
Cooper 10th by the fans.
Nope, he's not even in the top 10.
They're not paying attention.
Yeah,
not in
no.
the top 10. They're not.
But in
paying-
the end, even though he got 10th from the fans, not in the
No,
top 10,
he was not top
He
10.
still finished as a starter in the Pro Bowl. So obviously,
Yes.
the coaches and executives weighs heavier.
They got
They're
it right.
saying 2/3, but it's got to be more than that.
McNuggets.
Yeah.
Because he was not only on the team, he's a starter.
right.
What's up, G?
Do you believe? I'm gonna ask you this: Do you believe players nowadays care more about their batting ratings than Pro Bowl?
No.
No, because you
because
get
the
paid
Pro
off
Bowl
Pro
gets
Bowl
paid. It
incentives.
gets you
Yeah.
paid.
Okay, if
But
you
take the money out.
Take the
G?
money
Yes.
out. Take the
Yes.
money out.
100%.
I still think they want that recognition.
Yeah. And here's the thing: when down the road,
Yeah.
when we judge all these players as to whether or not they get a gold jacket, there's a billion stats that we'll look at. None of them will be Madden ratings.
No.
I think
I don't know that we should look at Pro Bowls, though.
But we do.
Yeah.
When we list the resume of a Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
we say this. He won 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls, a 9-time Pro Bowler,
Yeah, that's
7
true.
times All-Pro.
I think
All-Pro
You'll
is
never
way more.
see 6 times was highest rated at his position
Right,
by
right.
Madden.
All-Pro is way more
You
important
also
than Pro
won't
Bowl.
see PFF grade.
Yeah, you won't see that. Now here's what I will say. I think there's a lot of young players who understand that it is so difficult to get in the NFL, the Hall of Fame. They're just like, I live in the moment. I can't calculate. Like I don't think I'm going to be a 7-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
So they're to some players, because we've heard players say, Madden, how'd you get that so
Montez
wrong?
Montez Sweat is hurt.
Yeah, like literally.
He's literally like, he goes into the meeting with the guys that are doing the game. He's like, I can't believe they got me like an 84. Like, people be really mad at that.
Yeah, it means something to the players. Whether or not it means more than a Pro Bowl not, I don't know. But it's something they look at.
I think the reason I thought the fans, and obviously the fans did a bad job with these 2 things we mentioned, I feel like in baseball, the fans in recent years have done a better job of voting than they used to.
You guys are more plugged in. Baseball fans are, by and large, the most informed group of people, intense
About
watchers.
the whole league.
About the whole, like when y'all sitting up here talking about, the 3rd starter for the A's. Nah, bro. Washington, he's been batting well, 242. I think I'm like, you watch that game? I'm confused. How do you do that?
Yeah, baseball. I do think baseball fans, by and large, get it pretty close. But there are also a lot of years where a player at the end of his career, Cal Ripken, is voted the starter at shortstop, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
there are 3 better shortstops right now than Cal Ripken.
But I think in recent years, fan voting's been better than it used to be. When
I
we
agree
were
that it has gotten better.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, time for a read and then sit or start, right?
Yes, sir. If you guys are sitting around tomorrow at 12:30, there's only one thing you should be watching, and that is UCSF on WKYC. It is brand new, never before seen content that not even the people on this panel have seen before it airs on WKYC. It is TV in the best, most pristine 4K cameras you could possibly imagine, and it happens every Friday from 12:30 to 1 on WKYC. All right, guys, we know Joe Flacco won't play on Sunday. Kevin Stefanski has hinted at the fact that other starters will also rest, although he will not give the Bengals an advantage and tell them flat out who won't be playing or who will. So we're going to take that out of his hands and go with a round of sit or suit up with happy and sad face. If you think they should play, this is not whether you think they will or won't, whether you think they should. In your own opinion.
If we were Kevin Stefanski,
if you were Kevin Stefanski, should
I
this
would
person
not
play?
Start Joe Flacco.
Mad as will not start, happy as you would. We're going to go through some of the other starters. We will run through this and have some fun with it. Are you guys all ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Yep.
Let's start with Jerome Ford. Should Jerome Ford suit up against the Bengals? A no for J, a no for Bull, and a no for G. Very easy. If we all agree, we'll just move on until we get to a disagree. Kareem Hunt. 2 no's. G's thinking. And G says no.
How many touchdowns he got on the year?
9.
I wanted to get him 10 so bad. I wanted to get him 10, but
Is that rushing and receiving touchdowns?
He has 9 rushing. I don't think he has a receiving.
I thought he caught a touchdown.
I thought he did too.
He does not have a receiving touchdown.
I could have swore he
But
caught a touchdown pass.
Kareem Hunt been banged up since he got here. Like, I think he played the first game and got hit on his thigh, and he been gutting it out. He was like, but I am not about to tell him I'm hurt.
Nope. Nope.
Next up, Amari Cooper, still dealing with the heel injury. Easy no, right? Easy
No
no.
chance.
Come on,
I
man.
probably won't grab the happy face.
Come on, man.
I can't imagine.
At some point, someone has to play.
I think you got to go a little deeper into the depth chart.
We're getting there. We're going through the whole roster. Elijah Moore, still in concussion protocol. No, we're moving on.
I was shocked that he practiced yesterday. That's a good sign, though.
Still in protocol.
Still in protocol.
Yeah. But
usually the next day, they're cleared.
The fact that he was practicing, I'd be shocked if he can't play by the playoffs.
Was that true?
At this point.
That's
was
another
2 weeks.
Was that a rumor
10 days.
that somebody told him that he shouldn't play no more?
It was a TV
that's-
doctor. No one with real information.
Yeah,
into the
somebody.
situation.
There's all these things, JFA football, these weird things people tweet.
I didn't.
They're nonsense.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
All right, what about David Njoku, though, guys, who is 100 yards away from 1,000 yards, which could be his first career 1,000-yard season? Not a chance?
Why you saying like, oh, all right, guys, David Njoku. Now let's take a good look at him. No,
No
chance.
No.
All right, now this next one is curious. Jerron Christian, the left tackle.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So you got all yeses. Okay, look at that.
Give
We
me
are in
those
agreement.
reps.
Yeah, get you some reps in there, dog.
You only have like 9 offensive linemen. You got to play some guys.
Hey, that's why they got Saffold. They like, listen,
James Hudson.
Christensen, go down if you want to. Oh, come on.
I'd play James Hudson
I would too.
We'll do Teller Bitonio combo. I'm assuming neither's playing for you guys.
Nope.
See ya.
Pocic.
I would not play Pocic.
So that means your starting offensive line will be your starting tackles with Christian and Hudson, and then Nick Harris, Michael Dunn, and somebody else at the other guard.
Maybe Roger Saffold starts the other guard.
There it is. There it is. I love it. Love it.
Let's go.
To go back to where we started
Might
this
give
week.
up 14 sacks, but let's go.
To go back to where, if that was the offensive line that had to protect Joe Flacco, I would not risk Joe Flacco either. Just want that on the record. Let's go to the defense.
What about, can I say some guys that I do want to see on the offense? David Bell, Cedric Tillman, Pierre Strong. I mentioned it. I want to see all 3 of those guys play.
Almost by de facto, we have to see those guys.
They have to play, yeah.
And maybe Austin Watkins will get
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Put him out there.
see what he's got. I'd play Harrison Bryant, the other tight ends. I'm fine with that.
Well, Bull, you just benched the entire starting lineup. So, yes, somebody has to suit up.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are going to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to do tomorrow in the TV show on WKYC that we've never seen before until we do it. Some over-unders on the guys who don't typically get a starting role in the Browns offense.
I would not play Marquise Goodwin either this week.
That was the one I forgot. Marquise Goodwin.
I wouldn't.
I'm in a rare fantasy league that combines week 17
I don't like that.
and 18.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
now,
why don't they do 16 and 17 for the combo championship?
but that was the semifinals.
Yeah.
Well, they should have moved the playoffs
They
up
should
a
have.
week. I love, by the way, the 2-week championship format.
The two-week
We
championship.
should go to that next year.
That's fine, but you can't do week 18.
No, week 18, my God.
so now
a lot of the best players will not be playing
that's right.
Sunday.
So I picked up Pierre Strong because he's probably going to
I'm
play.
assuming he's going to get a ton of
Although,
carries.
you know what's interesting about that, Bull? It will test your general manager
Oh, it
skills.
does.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's not just about drafting, because typically I draft my team and I don't make moves. I
make
mean,
a lot.
I do on demand.
I'll be up in the middle
Bull
of the
makes
night.
8 moves a day.
G. Bush does too. He and I make
I
the
do
most.
not. I
Yeah.
typically draft my team, and the only time I'll make a change is for a bye or an injury.
It's tough
Yeah.
to do it like that.
Yeah,
It's
you got to
hard.
stick.
Yeah.
All right. Go
All right,
ahead, Mike.
defensively, guys.
Yeah.
And some of these guys, once again, have to play. Just based pure numbers. You can't really suit up.
And that's exactly what Stefanski said yesterday.
Yeah. All right,
gotta
we'll start
put
with
someone
Myles
out
Garrett, who
Come on.
is in the running and the betting favorite right now for Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to want to play. Are you going to let him?
Man,
Yeah.
I'm down so much.
This is what I would decide. This is what's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to play.
Really?
Yep.
Why, Jay?
Because he's going to go to Kevin Stefanski and say, damn it, I'm playing.
He should not put Kevin Stefanski in that position.
Dang, boy.
I agree, because
Yeah.
if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I have a 2-word response. Not even a 2-word response. I just list a player's name. Bradley Chubb.
That's it.
That's it.
No thanks. I am not playing.
But I'm telling you guys, I have a sneaky suspicion that 95 is going to suit up, because what do we know about Myles Garrett? This is an award he has talked about. This is something that he said is a career goal of his. He is closer to getting his fingers on that DPOY trophy than he's ever been before. He's not going to want to risk it. He's going to want to play. He's also going to know that he's got a chance to get 2 or 3 sacks.
I think Kevin Stefanski, if I'm saying like, and I think this is true, I would say nothing you do in this game is going to change that vote. The game doesn't matter.
I agree
The voters
with
know
you,
it doesn't matter.
But my fear here is that Myles is going to say, I'm playing.
I hope you're wrong.
We've seen this guy play when he can't put his shirt on.
I know.
Myles, you already won it.
We love you, buddy.
You already
Yes, the hay
trust
is
it.
in the barn. You won the award.
It's about, it's going to be a close vote. But listen, there won't be a recount. There will be.
He is the favorite, right, for DPOY?
He is, yes.
And if they win 12 games, which he's not going to be a part of, he's definitely going to win it.
I would think he's
I don't
got
even
it.
think it matters if they win a 12
I don't either. I think he's got it.
He's been. I don't think you should win it for just this reason, but he's the best player on the best defense. That's a factor. And if you look at stats beyond just sacks, he's been the best across the board.
And as Ben Baby told us this week, not just the best, there's a big difference between he and number 2 in a lot of categories.
And T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett gets double teamed twice as much as T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute.
Hey, McNuggets, think about it like this. When PER came out, right?
Great stat.
And when PER came out, that was the main determination for MVP and how good you were. It wasn't points. It wasn't all that other stuff. And it was a part of analytics. So I think moving forward, after he wins this, they're going to start using advanced sack stuff, advanced number metrics about how many tackles.
The younger voters are using that stuff more.
How effective you are.
Well,
so
Ben Baby told us on the show earlier this week a stat that I didn't even know existed that ESPN
Great
created. That
that was a good stat.
It's a combined metric.
Right.
So in other words, if we're looking at baseball players, you can look at home runs only, but no one does that. They look at RBI, home run, OPS, batting average, the whole shooting match. ESPN has sort of created a new stat category for measuring these edge rushers, and Ben Baby said it's Myles Garrett and then a huge drop in everybody else.
But here's what scares me, guys. Real quick, yes or no answer, then I'll tell you what's going. Do you guys like Bill Barnwell of ESPN?
I do, yeah.
So he released his all-pro teams yesterday, free article on ESPN.
Yeah.
The 2 edge rushers on his first team all-pro were Micah Parsons and TJ Watt.
I like him,
he
but
is
he
an
got it
MVP
wrong.
vote.
I like it.
I agree. I agree he's wrong, but he is an MVP vote. And if he released his all-pro teams before Week 17, and a guy who we know has an MVP vote, who works with Ben at ESPN and has access to all the same analytics,
you know what?
I get it.
Is
Mike,
looking at it. It just makes me a little worried that some of the other voters who aren't even as smart as Bill and look at the non-traditional box score stats are going to look at Myles Garrett, who's 8th in the league in sacks, or 7th or 8th in sacks right now, and be like, oh, he can't be Defensive Player of the Year, which is wrong. And
but
I'm just saying that's my fear.
You know what? Listen, he cares. I don't care. In the end, I don't care if he wins Defensive Player of the Year. I want him to for him, but I don't
like
really care.
To see him win it.
All that matters is the playoffs.
That's it.
You can't affect that negative. You can't take a chance.
And you know what? I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope if Myles Garrett talks to the media this week, I hope more than anything else that he stands in front of the camera and says, no, it's most important to my team that I'm available in 10 days. This game is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to get healthy.
Yeah.
My coach has asked me not to play, and I'm going to honor that. That's how I hope this thing is handled.
I thought this past week he looked the closest to pre-injury that he had for the last month.
I agree.
You rest him for 2 weeks, he should be great to go. Yeah, I mean, it's,
All
right, we'll move on. I agree, by the way. I don't think Myles should play. I'm just giving you guys the counter argument to why. If he does play, that's why. How about Dalvin Tomlinson, who hasn't missed a game yet for the Browns this season?
I'm okay with him playing.
Okay.
Yep.
Bold no?
You don't want to lose him, but he's been very durable. He hasn't been a guy that's been dinged. He hasn't been a guy that's showing up on the injury list week after week.
Last thing you need is a team. The only weakness that I see on the Cleveland Browns defense is the fact that there's times they get gashed in the run game. There is no way that I'm going into a game, especially given the fact that you may see the Colts who have a Moss or a Taylor, or I thought the Texans ran the ball really well. Travis Etienne. No, I'm not doing that. You're going to sit down Jordan Elliott and not Tommy Togiai, but he's the new Tommy Togiai. Siaki Ika, you're going in there.
All right.
Get your reps.
I'd be okay with that. I'm not, I don't have a strong opinion on that, but just because he has been healthy, I say let him roll.
Zadarius Smith.
No. He's been banged up all year.
No.
Come on.
Easy money.
JOK. Prone.
JOK, no.
Oh, come on now.
No chance.
Nope. Taki.
Yep.
I'm okay with him going.
Yep, me too.
One of the linebackers, because I don't think Anthony Walker is back yet.
No.
Would you test Anthony Walker in this situation?
No. Don't need to.
No.
JOK's the only JOK and Walker I'm not playing. Any of the other linebackers can play.
You're gonna get Diabate. You're gonna get Fields.
That's okay. I'm okay with
Tony
him.
Fields. The kid who's good. The guy who's good at special teams. Adams.
Kanasic.
Yep. Wasn't he?
No, there's
injured
another
just a couple
guy.
Weeks ago? Kanasic was on the injury list.
Yeah, he was.
Ago.
I don't know what his stats.
Adams is a DB.
Oh, I thought there was another good
on
special
ESPN
teams
right
guy as a linebacker.
A couple weeks ago he was on the
Mike
list.
Ford.
Mike
Matt
Ford.
Adams.
Yep. They're playing. All both of those.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the defensive backs. No chance Ward plays, right? We're all in agreement. No chance Denzel.
No way.
Would you play MJ?
No.
Nope.
Greg?
Nope.
No.
Thornhill?
Yep.
No.
Oh, wait.
Thornhill.
Wait, he was hurt last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Thornhill?
Yeah.
No.
Did he get banged up again?
He's been injured.
Not the
all
last
year.
game. The week before that, he didn't play.
No,
right?
I'm playing Deron Harmon's a veteran, but I play him.
Our safety depth has been
Yeah,
surprising.
I play Ronnie Hickman.
Hickman, absolutely.
I like him getting a little more experience, even though he's played well.
Listen, I like Hickman so much. I'd be tempted to play him over Thornhill, and when the playoffs come.
It's true.
He's got a nose for the football.
I just feel like because he didn't play a lot in the beginning of the year, that the reps could help him.
Oh, Hickman's going to play.
Yeah, I'd play Hickman in this
playing
game.
100%.
I'm
Hickman's
playing
in my,
Cam Mitchell in this game.
Yep.
D'Anthony Bell's playing.
Yep.
Yeah. We got it down.
I got to tell you, I think Anthony Berry, if he's great at doing one thing, it's hitting on defensive backs.
Yeah, they got a lot of
his
DBs.
defensive back record is very, very good.
Harmon came in and played well.
Yeah.
Like, they got
Cam Mitchell's played well.
when he's
I
given
love our
opportunity-
depth back
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. Guys come in and make plays.
Yeah, he's done a great job identifying defensive backs.
Andrew Berry
Hickman's
just
in
can't
my
draft wide receiver.
No.
That's
five
his
stats
biggest
tomorrow.
weakness.
He's been awesome. His receiver
point.
As
picks.
good as he's been
Not
at
as
DB,
much.
he's
Yeah.
been that awful at wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on and talk a little comeback player of the year. And as always, even if it's all backups on Sunday against the Bengals, G, myself, and Earl, and even Anthony will be on the 2-minute post-game show. Regardless of the outcome, we will be there.
Yes, sir.
We'll be there for the playoffs. We'll be there every game for the Browns. If they play, we will have a post-game show, so make sure you guys tune in to figure out what happened. Instant analysis. We'll celebrate a win. We'll do some therapy for a loss. It doesn't really matter, but it'll be fun nevertheless. Guys, comeback player of the year. It's a pretty prestigious award around the NFL. And this year, there are 3 or 4 candidates that have a stranglehold on the Vegas odds. Demar Hamlin, Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield, and we can even throw Matthew Stafford in there for fun. This isn't a question of who will win the award, but who is the most compelling case as the NFL's comeback
I'm glad
player
you
of the
framed
year.
it that way because
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question who will win the award, sadly.
You know, Vegas has Hamlin as the big favorite because it's the story. He hasn't played all year. But, you know, Vegas.
He's played in 5 games. but he's got
Ultimately,
1 tackle or 2 tackles.
We know we always trust Vegas because they know these, right? But they don't know what voters are gonna vote.
No, but wouldn't you agree that the public sentiment is going to be so overwhelming to see Damar Hamlin get that award?
Yeah.
That sometimes it just happens.
I honestly,
and it shouldn't happen.
As a voter, I'd be embarrassed to vote for Damar Hamlin. That's embarrassing.
I would too, but I'll tell you what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get political here, but what this reminds me of was when ESPN gave their Female Athlete of the Year award to Leah Thomas. I thought that was a smack in the face of every great female athlete. I just did. But to me, that felt like this is the right thing to do award. Look at us. We're virtue signaling.
But, yeah.
We're giving a female award to a biological man.
I don't know that. I mean, we don't want to go down this
No,
road.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole,
if-
but I think
there are
this is
people
what it
who-
reminds me of.
There are people who are born male and feel like females, and just because you or somebody else don't get it, that's fine.
No. I'm all
That's-
bull.
yeah.
No, that's for identity.
Yeah.
And I am 100% for that
Yeah.
because I happen to know for a fact that happens. What my point on Leah Thomas was,
it's a tricky thing.
It's a very
tricky
thing.
There should probably be a separate
because you're
category.
saying to all the other female athletes that
Yeah.
year that
I hear you.
she was better.
Yeah, I hear you.
And we can leave it there. But
just,
this is kind of what it
yes,
reminds me of.
It's like you feel like you have to vote for this person.
Right.
Right.
Because
And
it's the virtuous thing to
Right.
do.
And I think it's stupid. I don't even think Damar Hamlin should be a candidate. The fact that he essentially died on the field for a few seconds and is living and is in the NFL
That's it.
is
It's remarkable.
amazing, and honor him in some way.
I said yesterday, here's what you do.
Yeah.
Because there would be backlash. You know there's going to be backlash if he
Yeah.
doesn't win it, which I think he will.
Yeah.
But if he didn't, what the NFL is most afraid of is everybody saying, how could you not give it to a player that died?
Yeah.
What bigger comeback
Like-
is it coming back from the dead?
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
what I would do is I would create a new award beginning this year, and it would be the Damar Hamlin Courage Award.
Right.
Because think about it. To come back and play a game
right.
which once made your heart stop beating
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage.
Yes,
I-
no
And
doubt.
so honor him forever. We're going to give this award 30 years from now, 50
Yeah.
years from now, 80 years from
Like-
now when you're dead.
like the
there
Walter
will be a
Payton Man of
Damar
the Year.
Hamlin Courage Award winner.
That's
like
right.
It's like the Walter Payton. I actually really like that idea. It's kind of ironic. We sit here, you know, I went viral a couple years ago talking about Damar Hamlin, and so now it's like you come full circle, and it's a year. Now he's up for the world, but award for comeback player of the year. But ironically, to me, that award means who did it on the field. Like
I agree.
You
with
have to be
right.
able. You have to
He
be
was
able
only
to,
active for one game.
Right. And so
I thought he played in 5 games. I looked this up.
I thought it was
last night.
one. All right, I could be wrong.
he's winning.
I thought I played 5 games and he had 2 tackles, mostly, if not all, special teams play.
If he's winning at the game of life, I can't be mad at you for the game of life. That's great.
Listen, all
Nobody's
hats off.
anti-Demar Hamlin.
No,
Like,
and
but-
if he doesn't
amazing,
get the
but-
award, it doesn't mean that we're anti-Demar
No.
Hamlin.
It's just the definition of, okay, well, who come back, means you was done. You was out of here. You wasn't, you had a bad year, or you were out of the league.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's who has the best season of the guys that either were terrible last year, were hurt last year, or didn't play last year.
Yes,
Right.
I agree with
And
that.
who had the best season of those guys.
Right.
Not just, obviously what happened to him. But, okay, so who would you guys vote for?
Well, I'll start because
Yeah.
I know I'll get grief for this, but
Yeah.
my guy's Baker Mayfield. And I think if you look at the numbers, it's a pretty slam dunk case. Now, who do I want to win it? I want Joe Flacco to win it. So to me, it's Hamlin, Flacco, and Baker. Those are the 3 favorites according to Vegas. And after that, there's a big drop off. So it really is a 3-horse race. Although Bull has someone that's not
Yeah.
in those 3.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can make a strong case for him. However, if you look at Hamlin, because he's only played, did I get that right, 5 games?
He's been suited up for 5. He's only played in 2. But he
Okay.
has 2 tackles this season and 2
So
pass breakups.
because of that, to me, I look at it not as I look at it as a literal award. Not that you just came back.
Yeah.
I look at it that your career was, they were throwing dirt on your career, and here you are. So for me, that leaves 2 guys, Baker Mayfield and Joe Flacco. And for Joe Flacco, as much as I hope he gets the award, it's going to be really difficult to make the case for him to win it because he didn't play in September, he didn't play in October, and he didn't play in November. So because of that, it's going to be really, really difficult. Maybe he played 1 game in November. I'm not sure.
1 game November.
Okay. It's going to be really hard to convince me that a guy that played, if I'm going to ding Damar Hamlin for only suiting up for 5 games, I have to use that same standard against Joe Flacco, who only suited up for 5 games. Now, his impact on his team was far greater. But when I started looking at the Baker Mayfield thing, I thought, does he deserve it? And I'll read you some numbers, and I think you guys are going to be really surprised in this, at these numbers. I was. And he's on one of my fantasy teams, so I follow him fairly closely, but I was surprised at some of these numbers. Baker Mayfield is 4th in the NFL in touchdown passes. Baker Mayfield has more touchdowns and fewer interceptions than he did when he set the rookie record for the most touchdowns ever by a rookie. This is the one that clinches this vote for me. Baker Mayfield has more touchdowns and fewer picks than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence. Those are some
You're not including
big
rushing touchdowns in that.
I'm talking passing touchdowns. He has more passing touchdowns than Allen, Mahomes, Tua, Stafford, and Trevor Lawrence. He has fewer picks than all 5 of those guys. Only 1 quarterback in the NFL, and this is the stat that I think most impressed me, has more touchdown passes and fewer picks than Baker Mayfield. And that's Dak Prescott, who I think some people would tell you is going to get MVP votes. So when you look at it from that, he has fewer picks than Brock Purdy, for crying out loud. And by the way, he's done that. He's got more touchdowns and fewer interceptions on fewer attempts than Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. His team has a game at Carolina Sunday. Likely, they're the big favorite. Who knows? If he loses this game and looks bad, he doesn't get my Comeback Player of the Year award. It's in his hands. If he wins that game, he's taken his team to a 9-7 record and an NFC title. He's going to the playoffs. And by the way, I know that a lot of people will say it's the worst division in football. It is. It was last year, too. And Tom Brady threw for fewer touchdowns and more interceptions than Baker and took his team to the playoffs with an 8-9 record. So when you take all of that into totality, I think that it's got to be Baker Mayfield for the Comeback Player of the Year.
He'll most likely have 4,000 yards. He has 3,900 right now.
Yep.
He's on one of my fantasy teams, actually starting this week.
I lost a trip to the championship finals in our league because I decided to keep, well, me and my son decided to keep Baker Mayfield on the bench.
But we
should have started him against Green Bay.
He could have even better numbers. He could have He could be 9-8 after this game, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
9-7.
9
if
and
they
7.
win.
So
if they lose it, by the way, I'd be the first one to say I can't give it to him. All he had to do is go to Carolina, a team that cut him last year. And I think another part of this equation isn't just the year you're having. Go back and look at the year he had last year.
Played for how many teams?
Traded by the Browns, released by the Panthers, signed on with the Rams, and by and large, the NFL hierarchy had decided his career was pretty much sputtering.
He was done.
It was over for Baker Mayfield. He signed a very, very team-friendly one-year contract with Tampa Bay. He essentially did what Joe Flacco did. I'm going to bet on myself. He signed for 1 year. He's going to get paid next year. He's going to get paid.
G, who you going with?
I'm going to go, well, come on now. Like, I like his research. I love the research. He had, look, I didn't know his stats. And some of them numbers, I didn't know he was that good.
Listen, they surprised me too, G.
Surprised me a little bit. I'm going to go with, like I said, Demar Hamlin in real life, he's winning. But I'm talking about on the field. Baker Mayfield is up for that. Like, he's going to get multiple and a lot of votes based on that information, especially if they can get to the playoffs. For me, I just think the narrative for Joe Flacco is growing and it's bubbling and it will continue to grow. Because first of all, you look at it from in respective point with the Jets. You come from a major market, right? So there's a major flashlight on, wow, the Jets let this guy go. 2, he did it when it counted, down the backstretch. And there was a couple of games on TV. The Thursday night game helped him a little bit. Mm-hmm. I thought, him playing some of these other teams and putting up the type of numbers he did helped him a lot. And plus, the Cleveland Browns, traditionally who they've been, in not having a quarterback in the way he came in and started breaking records, I think that's crazy too. I think also when you juxtapose Deshaun Watson and you juxtapose what Joe Flacco is in his demeanor, there are going to be people who have votes that already said, I said earlier this year, Deshaun Watson could have the best numbers in the next 10, 15 years. They'll never vote for him for MVP. So that stigma was on the Browns. People say, we don't even want to watch the Browns. Now you get a guy like Joe Flacco, they get the story. Now the national media is just all over it. They're just, listen, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Joe Flacco, they keep saying he got off his couch. He has 5 children. He was in daddy daycare. They just kept going on and on and on.
It's a lovely story.
It's a very good story. And now that the Browns have an opportunity to actually make noise in the playoffs at a high level, I think that's going to be what people vote on, not necessarily who did the most. Because if you look at the names, I do think Baker Mayfield did the most statistically, but the story is just too doggone good.
Yeah, and it's oftentimes with this award, it is more about the story.
Yes.
Not for MVP. MVP, it's more about the numbers and your impact on your team. But it does feel like oftentimes the Comeback Player of the Year award, when you see who wins it, you're like, really?
That guy?
Wow. Okay, I didn't think of that.
Like, I don't even think Adrian Peterson won. He had 2. No, I think he did. The year he came back at 2,000 yards.
All right, to me, this is easy. It's a no-brainer. It's Matthew Stafford, and it's frankly not even close. Matthew Stafford is 4-5 against teams that are over 500. You know what Baker Mayfield's record is against?
Wait. 4-5. Let's not use that as a beautiful stat.
That's solid to be around 500.
It's a losing record.
You know what Baker Mayfield's record is against teams over 500?
So I knew you when I went. I knew you were going to start digging up to find the negative stats. What is he?
He's 1-6.
Okay.
1-6.
Neither one are any good against winning teams. Because I'm not going to tout 4-5.
4-5 is a lot better.
I'm not touting 4-5.
Would anybody disagree that 4-5 is a lot better than 1-6?
Oh no! Listen, I'll give you that. It's a lot better. But Bull, he's the 4th pick, and his odds are 100 times longer.
That's irrelevant.
Okay, well,
the question is, who do I think should win? Not what are the odds.
Okay, make your case.
The odds that's irrelevant. If you Baker's thrown, I think, 1 more touchdown than Matthew Stafford, but he's played 1 more game. Stafford missed a game due to injury. In that game, the Rams got crushed in the game he missed. The Rams are 9-6 overall in the games. 9-6 overall in games he's played. The Buccaneers are 8-8. The Rams have played a much tougher schedule.
Wait,
What? Buccaneers are 8-8.
Bucks are 8-8.
Wait, who missed a game? You're saying someone missed a game?
Matthew Stafford missed a game.
How can they? Oh, they're 9-6 in the games he's
They're
played.
9-7 overall, 9-6 in the games he's played.
I got
so
it.
he's won 60% of his games this year. Baker's won half. In games against teams that are really good, playoff teams, Baker Mayfield's Stafford's team's been better. Baker has one more passing touchdown, and he has, I think, 2 less interceptions. But Baker's got more. Baker's fumbled 8 times, and he's lost 4 of them. Matthew Stafford hasn't fumbled once this year. You picked and choose your stats. You ignored the rushing.
I'm laughing at you because the stats you're going for, and you know this because you're smart.
I'm doing the same thing you did, Jay.
No, I went for the money numbers.
You made your point. Let me make my point. You made your point. Okay, if you look at the QBR, Matthew Stafford way better. If you look at PFF grade, Matthew Stafford way better. The Rams are in a much tougher division because they have the 49ers in their division. There's nobody. The AFC South is trash.
How many
that's the only reason
teams are in that division?
In the AFC West,
there's 2 teams over 500, and the Seahawks are 8-8.
Yeah,
right.
They have 3.
I mean, basically, the NFC South has 3 teams that are at 500 or right there. Right?
Jay's not trying. You're not trying to argue the AFC South is as good as the AFC West, are you?
The NFC West.
The NFC South. It's not close.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know where the AFC.
The NFC South and the NFC West.
Yeah.
You're trying to. Jay, it's not even close. What are you talking about?
I don't know. What are the total number of victories for both conferences? Or both divisions.
Jay,
I'll tell you, the NFC
I'll do it real quick.
Better.
Nobody in the NFC South is any good. They're all mediocre or worse.
They're all mediocre.
Okay?
Except for Carolina, which is horrible.
The 49ers. In my opinion, the 49ers are obviously a lot better than anybody in the NFC South.
Yeah.
The Rams, in my opinion, and the Seahawks are better than any of the NFC South teams. Does anybody disagree with that?
I agree.
No.
Okay, so they're playing a tougher division. They've played more teams over 500. They've won more games over 500. He has less turnovers. He has the same amount of touchdowns, or maybe 1 less passing touchdown, but he's played 1 less game. He has more passing yards, even though he's played 1 less game. Yeah. He has way more passing yards per game.
What are the
He has a better
attempts?
QBR, and he has a better PFF grade. So I don't even see the argument.
What are the
for
number
Baker.
of attempts?
And Matthew Stafford was hurt last year, so he didn't do anything last year either.
So do you?
And he was bad when he did play.
So do you think his floor last year was
I mean, a lot of that was injury. It was
higher
injury.
or lower than Baker's? So like Baker came from like
I'm not giving him a pass last year because of injuries.
Baker
sure as hell didn't
like
get a pass
it was like
because of that.
Because
who's giving a pass? I'm saying he sucked last year.
No, but you said he was injured. G said, are you saying his floor?
Oh, he was injured.
He didn't
play that.
He was injured.
He didn't play that much. That's a fact.
So I'm guessing like who came back from. When he's a comeback player, who came back from the worst type of season? Like Matthew Stafford, yes, he was hurt, but I think everybody knows that
Matthew Stafford played. He only played 9 games.
Yeah, he could play. He could play.
Absolutely.
He only played 9 games last year.
What were his touchdowns?
And he had 10 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Okay.
Which is not
That was
very
exactly
good.
the same as Baker last
Baker's
year.
ass was out, literally looking like his career was over.
And so was Matthew Stafford.
No, the Rams actually had a choice to make.
I know.
Stafford or Baker.
I know, but
they chose Stafford.
In fact, on this show, you said Baker might end up with the Rams because Matthew Stafford's done. You said that.
No, listen, I wasn't the only one saying
exactly.
that.
So don't say nobody thought he was done. A lot of people thought he was done.
What I'm saying is it came down to a choice.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay, wisely by the way, said, give me Matthew Stafford.
I know. And in the end, they both were lousy last year.
Yeah.
Okay? And Matthew Stafford's been better by most markers this
is really close. This is actually a very close
what
argument.
are the odds? What are the Vegas odds? I know Bull doesn't care about it in this instance, but what are the odds? Like,
according to
are they giving
FanDuel,
him a chance?
It's close.
Who, Matt Stafford?
Yeah.
Matt Stafford right now on FanDuel is 75-1. So no.
But those odds, they're not basing those odds on who should win. They're basing those odds on.
No, I'm basing them on who's going to win.
Yeah, but how would they even know that?
Well, it's Vegas. They have more information than
they
anybody.
don't. It's voters. What would they have information
the
on?
one thing you know about Vegas.
I know when it comes to games, not when it comes to awards.
Well, they're betting. They have the.
But they're wrong all the time, Vegas.
Of course they are, but they're right more than they're wrong.
No, they're not. Not on awards.
Well, they're right more than they're wrong because if they weren't, they wouldn't have
not on awards.
casinos
Jay.
that
On
are worth.
awards, they don't. That's why they change every week.
We don't know what their track record is on awards. I'm just using their track record on setting odds. In general, they know what the hell they're doing.
And I'm not
again,
disagreeing with that. I'm talking about one specific thing.
There's certainly a case to be made for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, quite frankly, I don't think he should be a 75-1. And I didn't think that when I looked at them yesterday. I'm like, why is it a 3-horse race and then everybody else? I didn't think that was, I don't think they have it properly wagered right now.
It's actually changed since this morning.
It'll change before the award is announced. I mean, it will. But for me, when I look at where both were in their career, and I know that there was a lot of talk because Stafford's injury was serious.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk that this could be it for him. But the team that had the most information on everything was the Rams. They owned Stafford. They had Baker. When Sean McVay made the decision that I'm not going to move forward with Baker, I'm going to move forward with Stafford, he had some pretty good information that this guy's going to be fine.
Well, they also owed Stafford a lot more money.
That's true. That had something to do with the decision. But by and large, I don't know that Stafford's reputation has ever been where Baker's was at the end of last year. Baker's reputation at the end of last year was he was used up. He was done. You've sat here and said he's not any good. A lot of the NFL hierarchy said this guy is done.
I have said consistently that Baker Mayfield is mediocre. He was terrible last year, but so was Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
They actually both had 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
I know, but if you look at it, you look at everything in totality, was Matthew Stafford's, outside of the injury, was Matthew Stafford ever looked at by the NFL hierarchy as, this guy's trash, he's going to be lucky if he finds a team?
And I thought Matthew Stafford would be better than Baker this year, but Matthew Stafford made the Pro Bowl, and honestly made it. He deserved it.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Baker Mayfield did not make the Pro Bowl.
No, he did
not.
Now,
Baker, Baker had a good, solid year, but the reality is he's in a terrible division, and they got smoked quite often when they played good teams. That's it.
So who's going to win?
I think Damar Hamlin's going to win.
Well, we all said that. I mean, we think that at the end of the day, it's going to be
I think if it's not Damar Hamlin, it's going to be Joe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's a great story, and that's what a lot of times they vote.
If it is between those two, and by the way, Vegas has them as the 1 and 2 choice.
Yeah, Damar's minus 230 and Joe's plus 220.
I just think you're going to cock your head at that award a little bit because if the top 2 choices played in 5 games this year, I just don't know how you give a major season award for someone that was on the field for less than a third of the team's games.
They're going to pay it forward. They're like the league office is like, there's no other way we're going to do this. I don't care if and by the way, who's voting for this? Who votes for this?
I don't know.
I think it's writers.
I think it's the Pro Football Writers Association.
I think it is too.
Well, if you writing and we talking narratives, it's a wrap. It's a
That's
slam.
what I'm saying.
Well, the media will definitely give it to Damar Hamlin.
I hate that media members vote based on narratives. I would never do that if I had a vote.
It's just, it should be, there's 2 things that you have to consider in this award. Not career, not, did you die on the field? I don't think that's a prerequisite. I think the award, by virtue of its name, comeback player, you're where you were last year and where you are now.
Yeah, I would vote Baker would be my second choice, actually. But to me, I think I would go Stafford 1, Baker 2. I wouldn't vote Joe only because it's 5 games. That's it. As great a story as it is,
I agree with you.
To me, it's only 5 games.
I hope Joe wins it.
On merit on the field, it's just kind of weird. I think Baker has the best resume on paper. I think he has.
Listen, if anyone would have told you coming into this season that he's going to have more touchdowns and fewer picks than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and all the other quarterbacks that I listed, Tua.
That's a little disingenuous, though, because he has more turnovers than some of those guys.
So,
they count.
if you want to start bringing in...
Just the fact that he's close in the mix is shocking.
But, Bull,
it's shocking.
Even on the turnovers, like the first numbers that everybody goes to when they judge quarterbacks are touchdowns and interceptions. Now, are there other stats that paint a more clear picture?
Yeah.
Of course.
The only thing I'll say with Baker, and again, I have given him his credit. He has played well for the most part this year. The bottom line is, whenever almost every game he's played against a good team, he have lost, and he hasn't played well enough. Now, there's been some of those games that Green Bay's 500. They're not over 500.
Messed this up.
Well, basically, the league is 500 this year,
We
more than any other year.
The only over 500 team he's beaten is a Jacksonville team that's been collapsing down the stretch.
McNuggets has to read. You got to read it, and we got a moment of silence.
Yeah, we're going to bring in Didi. She just texted me. She said she's hopping on any second. So I'm going to read a couple super chats here while we are waiting to be joined by Didi. Then Bernie Kosar, the legendary Browns quarterback, will join us here at 12:30.
Bernie.
A couple super chats just for the people while we are waiting. Michael Horsar says, Bull, show us the email. Guys, there were so many words in that email to start the show. You wouldn't be able to read it from here. Trust me. It's
crazy.
Wait, why does he want to see more info, just out of curiosity, on the email?
I'm just reading the super chat.
That's crazy.
He said, show us the email.
Well,
Professor Chaos said, what's more accurate in your guys' eyes, Madden ratings or PFF grades?
They're both irrelevant to me.
I don't know.
By the way, I think I know why the super chatter wants to know the email. I think what the viewers might be interested in is having the email address so they can reach out to said emailer and let him know how idiotic he was. Is that what the Bull, do you think that's what he might be asking for here?
Maybe. That might be.
I mean, it's not doxing because we're not giving anybody's home address.
No.
We're giving someone's email address out. And if our viewers want to fill this guy's inbox.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
That's big of you, Bull, because I would do it.
Skilly wants to know who
Oh,
else.
by the way, I'll give him an answer. I think PFF is more consistent.
I don't know enough about the Madden grades. I don't play. I mean, I play once in a while with my son, but I don't pay attention to the grades.
Right.
I think PFF has credibility, but it's like anything else and like any other stat. It's flawed. There are things that make me scratch my head, but I'm going to trust them when it comes to things like offensive linemen more than anything else because I'm not watching other offensive linemen.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. Skilly wants to know who else in the DPOY conversation will be playing on Sunday. And someone like TJ Watt, who's in a must-win to get into the playoffs,
He's definitely
will definitely play. I'm not sure if they announced Micah Parsons. Will he play?
Gosh, I wouldn't imagine he would.
Are they locked into their spot? I don't think they
No,
are.
well, they're not locked into the
they're
two.
not locked.
If they lose and the Eagles win, the Eagles get the 2 seed.
Who do the Cowboys play, though?
Dallas plays Washington. The
Yeah,
Giants
I thought it was a
play.
very
Yeah, but they got to win. They could lose their division.
So
they're going to play.
Parsons will definitely play.
I don't know if he's in the legit conversation, but Trey Hendrickson's tied for the league lead in sacks, and he's going to play.
Max Crosby will play too.
Max Crosby,
he's not
great,
close,
man. I got to tell you, he's great.
awesome. One more here before we bring in Aditi, who just hopped in. But Charles T said Baker is 2-7 against teams that are plus 500. Plays in the softest division. Watch Murray and Baker last week side by side. It's clear what good quarterback play looks like. Murray led the comeback against Philly. Baker lost to New Orleans. All right, I'm going to do a read. We're going to bring in Aditi.
Let's not base it on one game.
And as always, even as the NFL regular season wraps up, there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets just by placing a $5 bet. It's simple. Place a bet. If you're a new customer and you get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is simple to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, such as same game live parlays. You can find bets in the Explorer tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. And Aditi Kinkhabwala, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, is now joining us live from Pittsburgh. What's up, Aditi?
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I'm late this morning.
It's all right. We were just having a fiery debate about comeback player of the year.
And she didn't hear it probably because she wasn't on.
Yeah.
So let's not tell her
All
what
right.
any of us said.
Who would you
Tell
vote
us
for?
who will win it and who should win it.
Oh, gosh.
Should we give you some of the top candidates?
Yes,
based
yes.
on-
Please
So-
give me some of the top.
Obviously, you have Demar Hamlin. We all think he should get his own
He's the Vegas favorite.
category. I mean, he hasn't played really this year. But of the
Right.
legitimate candidates, you have Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield, and Matthew Stafford.
And those are the 1, 2, 3, and 4 choices from
and
Vegas.
I will say of those three guys that each one of the three of us picked one of those three guys, picked different guys. But we won't tell you who picked who, so go ahead.
Well, I know that you didn't pick Baker. We can go with that.
You're
That's
right,
not-
but I
that's
did
a
say he'd be
easy
my
one.
second choice.
Baker was your second choice.
He was my second choice, yeah.
Really? You're willing to give him some?
I always keep it real, Aditi.
Yes,
I always
yes.
give my honest opinions, and he's played pretty well this year.
So who do you have?
You know what? I'll have to tell you. So I love the Joe Flacco story. I am completely on the record having said that. However, since it is about the entire year and not just the last month, I would go with Baker. I really would.
Got it right.
It's unfortunate you got it wrong there, Aditi.
Just watching Baker with his teammates, watching Baker with his coaches, watching Baker on that sideline, seeing the way that people respond to him, knowing how he was written off as completely dead 3 teams last year. The whole mess of all of it, what he has overcome in, what did he have? 4 head coaches, 4 offenses, 4 play callers, then just in Cleveland. Then being sent to
Carolina, and then the Rams.
then
We had
going
6.
to Los Angeles. Yeah, he's done some. He's also been that player that elevates guys around him. He's a great story too. He's a great, great, great story, and I think for a whole body of work, for a whole season, and Joe, as much as I love Joe Flacco stepped into a team that was a team that already had this established close-knit nature, this culture, this defense, this run game, this offensive line. That was all there. Baker had to help build a lot of that. And I don't mean personnel, but just build a new culture in the post-Tom Brady era. And he had to earn it. He went through a quarterback competition.
And like you said, stepping in for the GOAT of all time.
Right.
Aditi, let me explain to you why you and Jay are both wrong and why the answer is clearly Matthew Stafford, not Joe Flacco. Matthew Stafford has won more games than Baker, despite playing 1 less. He plays in a significantly better division. They got the 49ers and the Seahawks in that division. Baker's playing against nobody. Matthew Stafford is 4-5 in games against teams over 500. Not great, but not terrible. Baker is 1-6 against teams over 500. If Baker played in any other division, he would not be going to the playoffs. The Rams were supposed to be just as bad, if not worse, than the Bucs this year. Both of them were equally terrible. They both were horrible last year. People thought Stafford was finished because of his injury. Stafford made the Pro Bowl. That's by the executives and coaches. Baker did not. He's got a better QBR. He's got less turnovers. He's got more yards per game. I mean, I don't see what the argument is.
Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl is the biggest popularity contest that is out there.
Agreed.
How else do you explain Justin Tucker over Dustin Hopkins? Don't give me Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
I agree to some point, but Matthew Stafford has earned that over Baker Mayfield. He's played better in a better division. And you want to talk about raising the talent.
Okay, but you're not talking. You're talking about who is a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Comeback player is who has made the greater comeback.
Matthew Stafford was awful last year, Aditi.
He's won a Super Bowl.
Nobody had said Matthew Stafford was a bust. Nobody had said Matthew Stafford was never going to be anything and was a has been, never had been, whatever. Everybody had.
It's not a point. It's not.
And what Baker has suffered in being run out of Cleveland.
Wasn't run out. He has to be out.
Even to Cleveland. Oh yeah. Come on now. No. Comeback is about
we ran him out of here.
Yeah.
We got him.
Wait a second. This
Matthew
is not
Stafford was not in the valley.
Aditi, this is not a career achievement award.
It is
Yeah,
what it
but
is.
to Aditi's point, it is a comeback. It's not like who's the better player.
And both were equally bad last year.
Yeah, but it's whose comeback story is better.
Exactly.
Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl.
You just argue. Well, that was 2 years ago. There's nothing to do with this award.
Did Baker win a Super Bowl?
No, because he's not any good. He can't win a Super Bowl.
He's not any good.
It's a comeback.
Aditi, we got to move on
Because
to the last
Jay,
topic.
Baker has to deal with people like Adam who refuse to acknowledge.
You're right. And
I shouldn't say he's not any good. He's decent. He's decent.
Well, look, we got to move to other topics. So,
Yeah.
But Bull gave you his case for Matthew Stafford, and it's a fine case, and he's had a fine year.
I'll
just read a couple of things that will blow you away. It blew me away. It blew this panel away.
Because he leaves
Bull
out.
was so worried when I was reading my stats.
Yeah.
He dug into his phone and found any number that would
any
show
number.
Stafford was better.
He's got better stats across the board, Stafford.
Who would have known the comeback player of the year was so crucial?
It was feisty.
So
This is crazy.
here's the baseline case for Baker. He's had more touchdowns and fewer picks than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Matthew Stafford, Trevor Lawrence, and C.J. Stroud. Those are pretty good quarterbacks. He's had more touchdowns than all of them and fewer picks than all of them. Only one quarterback in the league this year has more touchdowns and fewer picks than Baker, and that's Dak Prescott. So, I mean, when you look at what he's
Conveniently
done,
leaving out rushing touchdowns and fumbles.
Okay, throw him in there.
Yeah,
it's not an
all those
MVP.
guys.
It's not an MVP contest. It's which player has had the better comeback, and I just think that's
Correct.
easy. I think it's easy.
It is. It's Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Good try.
All of that being said, Matthew Stafford's
All
a
this
75
quarter-
to
can I
1
just
long
tell
shot.
you, all
Baker's a
this
7 to 1
quarterback-
long shot.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just throwing the odds out there. Baker's 7 to 1, Stafford's 75 to 1. That's it.
Okay.
So how are you, Aditi? Why are you wearing purple?
You know, it's amazing because this is in many ways the best time of year because you've either got a team that is headed to the playoffs or you've got a team that is potentially going to start anew, like the Chargers, who I have this weekend. You have suspense, whatever, and it feels like I'm just getting wrapped up right now in these sort of like manufactured anger. And in Pittsburgh right now, it's over Kenny Pickett and people stirring the pot with unfounded character assassinations. But the other piece of it is, as I, have been sort of embroiled in this, sort of funny that there's this massive quarterback controversy, drama, nonsense, whatever you want to call it in Pittsburgh, and not in Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a
Because-
nice change.
Oh, there certainly
It's
will
sort of
be
like
this
a role
offseason.
Oh, no. I've thrown it out. We're not having that. Listen, I've vowed to turn everybody off the radio. If you call up and you say anything about Flacco or Watson, I'm cutting you off. I'm going to enjoy my holiday like my dad said.
Yeah.
You guys better watch out. I'm enjoying my holiday season. I'm enjoying the playoffs, Aditi. We can talk about that down the road.
Good for you.
You
Good
know
for
that.
you.
You know that it's crazy, but you know that if Flacco does well in the playoffs, there are going to be fans that say he should stay as the starter, which is crazy.
Of course.
But these
that's
two
the
lunatics
nature
sitting next to
of
me said the
fandom,
Browns
though.
should sign Flacco to extension right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just these two lunatics. Bernie's in the studio.
Yeah.
Bernie said the second I asked him the question, in my mind, that extension's already signed.
I
on.
can't disagree with Bernie.
Come on now.
So if we're idiots, Bernie's an
Yeah,
idiot.
but here's what the
I didn't say you're
here's
idiots,
what
I
the
said you're
problem
lunatics.
is.
Oh, that's right.
Are you still committed to Deshaun Watson, and can the two of them coexist?
Of
And
course.
is that fair to Deshaun Watson if the first time he throws a pick, the fans are screaming for Flacco?
I don't care.
Which will
We're saving this
100%
conversation.
happen.
And after
offseason, Aditi, we're saving this.
Flacco has played this way,
We'll save it.
after
We'll save
Flacco
it.
has played this way, you don't think that he's going to try to go someplace where he could potentially start?
I agree. There's going to be a lot of teams that are lining up. I don't know about a lot. There will be multiple teams lining up to pay Joe Flacco if he makes a deep playoff run with the Cleveland Browns. I think that's the way it's going to be.
Aditi, is Russell Wilson
I mean, the
going to be the
expiration
Steelers
date.
quarterback next year? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Russell
Go
Wilson
ahead.
starting for the Steelers next year? Who is it?
Yeah, no.
Who is it?
No.
Who will
No.
it be?
Who?
Kenny
I mean,
Pickett?
that's why there's so much drama and everything here. I don't think I also am on the record saying I don't think that we've really gotten to see who Kenny Pickett can be and that his true potential has not been uncovered because it's been such a disastrous offensive situation
Yeah, but
for
what about-
the year and a half.
Yeah, but
Go
they
ahead.
bring
Mason
in
Rudolph.
Mason
Rudolph.
and Mason Rudolph is playing in the same system, and he's
Sure,
throwing
he's
it all
playing
over
well,
the
but
place.
remember Josh Dobbs was taking the Minnesota Vikings by
True.
storm too. You're
Okay.
talking about
True.
a very
Mason
small
Rudolph
sample
sucks.
size, okay? And I'm not denigrating anything that Mason Rudolph is doing, but Mason Rudolph had legitimately already begun his planning for next year, which did not involve football. Mason Rudolph was sure that this was the end of his NFL career. He had already started the whole job search in Miami, what he was going to do, what field he would be in, was talking about turning the page and moving on. So Mason Rudolph, in a lot of ways like Joe Flacco, is playing with house money. There's no pressure on him. There's nothing that he has to prove. This is not Ben Roethlisberger is hurt for the year and Mason Rudolph has to prove that he's an NFL starting caliber quarterback. None of that. There is no pressure on him. He was halfway out the door. And it's wonderful that he's playing this way. There's no guarantee that he plays that way next year.
No, I get that.
We've had a large sample size of what Mason Rudolph is up until this moment. You certainly hope that if he wants to keep playing, he can keep sustaining this level of success. But again, I would tell you, we all thought Josh Dobbs was the second coming first few weeks in Minnesota. Look at what happened.
I know.
You're talking about 2 games here.
I agree with that. But I think what it does prove is that if someone can come in, whatever the story is, whoever that player is, whatever their experience level is, if someone can come in and have success in that same identical system, I think to me it diminishes the argument that the system is broken and it can't be successful. Someone's made it work. Now,
sure,
I'd
but
like to see
here's
it
what I would
term.
say. But here's what I would say, Jay. Jay, to that I would say is that the Steelers had an offensive coordinator who game planned, prepped, installed, unlike any other quarterback, any other coordinator in the National Football League. Okay? It was not a setup seen in any other NFL building.
What was different
then
about it?
finally, Mike Tomlin makes a change, and he installs this two-headed offensive coordinator situation, which is sort of very odd. There's one coordinator and there's another play caller, and they have to work together, but they have to work together within the parameters of what was already installed in August. So how many changes can you really make? But the way that this works is each week you have some cumulative reps, in which case you can do a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And the entire offense as a whole, be it the run game, be it how the wide receivers are used, each week the offense around the quarterback position is getting better. Because it's one more week removed from that disaster of what was the previous situation.
I agree.
So, and I'm not the only one who said this. I think it was, I hate to misquote, but I believe it was either Dan Orlovsky or Chris Sims, and I shouldn't even name either of them. I think it was Chris Sims who said, hey, Mason Rudolph did some good things, but they weren't against the most outstanding defenses at the moment. And if you look at it, and again, this game is about points. It is not about yards.
Right.
But Kenny Pickett, in his very first game under this new regime of this two-headed offensive coordinator play caller, actually had more yards against the Cincinnati Bengals than Mason Rudolph did. And I get it. It's about points. It's not about yards. But sometimes finishing the drive, getting in the end zone, those last things are things that happen once you've got those cumulative reps.
Well,
so again,
that's a fair
I'm
point.
not diminishing. I'm not at all diminishing what Mason Rudolph has done. I'm just saying, let's slow your roll. I mean, this is not Joe Montana here, okay?
No, I know.
But Didi, let me ask you this question. Let me give you this. So you meaning to tell me, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had some issues with coordinators, moving around. They've had some issues with a quarterback they drafted and a quarterback they've had and some controversy and doing things like that. And it just seems like the Pittsburgh Steelers sound a little bit like the Browns. I mean, I'm like this sounds
you're forgetting some selfish behavior from wide receivers.
Just
wide receivers who care more about their own health than helping their team score a touchdown.
Is this a knock? Is this a hit? Like I'm not saying because here I enjoy it all. I listen. I've had.
Still going to finish with a winning record.
The difference is the Browns.
No, but you know what? Here's what I would say.
Is it a change?
Yes.
Gee, here's what I would say about all of that.
Okay.
Everything can change in just an instant. So you as Browns fans right now enjoy this moment. Don't worry about next year. Don't sit here and say, what do we do with Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson? Don't sit here and say, what about this person and that person's contract? You have no idea what's happening next year because life comes at you fast in the National Football League.
That's right.
So don't waste this moment. This is an amazing ride right now for the Cleveland Browns fans. Enjoy it. Don't wait for the next
2 winning seasons.
Don't be looking to tomorrow. Enjoy today.
Yes.
Especially, Aditi, when you're relying on your defense, because we know that from year to year, it's not like just relying on your quarterback where the guy's good, he's usually going to be good most years. Whereas I've heard. I was listening to my old radio show yesterday for a little while, and there was a couple of callers in a row that said, "Oh, this is the start of great things for the Browns. Their defense is going to be great for years." Maybe, but you can't predict that from year to year.
Hey, Adam, until this year, we were worried that JOK couldn't stay healthy.
Exactly. Yeah. You never know from year to year.
JOK to be this person. We're still a little bit worried about Denzel Ward's health.
Yes.
You know, all of these things are in question to some degree. And so, again, yeah, and you have no idea. Right now, everybody's happy. But what happens if somebody on that defensive front all of a sudden thinks that they're worth a lot more money, or they want a lot more money, or has somebody in his ear saying, don't do this, don't do that? You have no idea what's going to happen in the future. So again, enjoy this ride right now, because it will never again be this exact team under these exact circumstances.
Right. Yeah, and the victory lap thing is dicey, because if the
Big time.
Steelers win this weekend, which is possible, and the Browns lose, which is possible, they're a missed San Francisco field goal from having the exact same record. So
well, I mean, you could say that about a lot of games.
What I'm saying is we can't tap dance on Pittsburgh's grave,
No.
because they may make the
There's
playoffs.
no grave. Yes,
No,
there's
there
no
is no grave.
I'm
come
finally.
on.
You're done. You're out of that
I'm finally
business.
done saying the Steelers are going to finish under 500. I will say that they've been mediocre for a long time.
That's fair.
And I think it's a great I not only should they stick with Kenny Pickett next year, if I were the Steelers, I'd sign him to a long-term extension and keep him as my quarterback for the next decade.
We co-signed
I
that.
don't, you know, I don't know that it's mediocre, but it's average. Because remember, half of the teams make the playoffs. Okay? And they haven't won a playoff game in you know how long, and they've only won 3 in the last 12 years. So all of those things, average. And that's not what you associate with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's not. No, it's not
true.
on their brand. Aditi, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you. One
Thanks
last
for
question in
having me.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Is Jim Harbaugh, I know you're doing the Chargers game this weekend. Is Jim Harbaugh, the coach of the Chargers, the second the national championship game ends?
I don't know but if it's the second, but that sure would be a nice fit, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's just it's inevitable. It feels like it anyhow, so we'll see.
And then Jim and John seeing
the
each
Super
other
Bowl
in the
again.
AFC. And did you see, really quickly, I know I need to go and Bernie's waiting in the wings, but did you see the video of Jim and John Harbaugh's mom and dad on the
I missed it.
sideline?
I heard it
after
was
the
good,
game?
but I missed it.
Yeah, I didn't see
Oh
it.
my goodness. And Jim Harbaugh looks exactly like his dad. It's hysterical.
Spitting image.
Their mom is great. The whole thing is great.
Jack and Jackie.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Jack and Jackie. You're Ohio. Aren't they Ohio natives?
They're Falcon
They're your
Flames. They
people.
met at Bowling Green, and I met my wife at Bowling Green, so we're in a very
How about
tight-knit
that?
club. The Harbaughs and
There
I
it
love
is.
elbows. Hey, thank you. Please don't
All
wear
right,
purple
tell
again.
Bernie I say hi,
Once the
and I'll
playoffs
see you all
start,
soon.
please retire that purple
What
sweater,
you
okay?
mean? I got
Jake,
purple
he's
Kool-Aid.
got purple.
What you
By the way,
talking
Jake
about?
goes yachting with the Harbaughs. They go yachting and skiing.
We're boating friends. We're boating friends.
See it.
Bye, Aditi.
Thanks, Aditi.
Why are you wearing purple, bro? What's
That's
up?
a purple playoff.
They're taking back purple.
Well, I'm taking that back. Y'all
right.
stole our colors. We stole Flacco and your colors, and we in the playoffs drinking that Kool-Aid. Stop playing with us.
All right, what do you got, Mikey?
I got a couple super chats, and we're going to bring Bernie in here. So, guys, you can start bringing Bernie in. A couple more we didn't get to. Brody's bottom line says Bradley Chubb didn't get hurt because he played versus Baltimore. He got hurt because his stupid coach left him in the game down 30. Brody also said Demar died on the football field. Devoid
See, that's going to be the
Archangel.
overwhelming story right there.
yeah.
Bro, he died on the football field.
Yeah.
It
He
is
came
hard to
back
argue
from the
that.
dead.
Can't do it's hard to
Yeah,
It is
but
hard
that's
to
part
argue
of the
that.
story. What did you do as
Right.
a player?
You have to
Because
play
the
well
award is
also.
Comeback Player of the Year. So you have to have played to win that award.
Not comeback cheerleader of the year, sideline.
Right, and
guy
we're not diminishing his story.
No, it's great.
Like I said, you honor him by making a new award given
Yeah.
annually, the Demar Hamlin Courage Award.
Before we bring in Bernie, can we
I
acknowledge
got
the
two more.
fact?
Two more
Hold on.
super
I
chats.
got
Sorry.
two more real quick. Corey
Yeah.
McLaughlin says, Jay, lay off Baker. Devoid
Stop
Archangel
hating.
says,
Stop hating.
what's a worse division, the NFC South or the AL Central? AL Central or NFC South?
Yeah,
NFC
pretty
South's
much.
worse.
They're pretty much the same. I mean,
And real quick, Bull, can you name the top 5 reasons you'll hang up on a caller?
Oh, we don't have time for that now. I'll do that in overtime. But
That's
real
from
quick,
Charles,
I find it funny that Mike has so little faith in Anthony that when he does the read every week as Bernie comes in, he has to say, now we can get Bernie set up, as if what he's doing is telling Anthony, do it now. You got to just trust the people there, Mike.
Anthony's looking back. He's just waiting for the cue.
Hey, it's like, look, yo, give it to me. But
We got a good system.
They were actually trying to be nice and get me up here first.
Speaking of,
They know I'm not coachable.
Yeah.
if you don't got it, if you don't got it by now,
Yeah.
go get it. I got 2 bags of the Bernie Kosar coffee.
Oh, my wife, by the way, loves it.
Just ordered it.
Yes.
Big time move. I didn't know. Like, this is co-signed by somebody at the Cleveland Clinic. I'm like, this dude got Issei on the bag. It's infused with nutrients. I'm not a big coffee drinker because I'm averse to caffeine. But let me tell you something. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Thank you.
It gave you an extra little pep. It got you some vitamins in there. My parents love it. They tried to take one of the bags with them. Said, I ordered your own.
We need to get it in stores.
It's-
I know it's
it is
available on
coming.
Kosar.
It's coming.
Coffee.
Check it out.
It's coming on stores, but
Good.
with the weather we have out here today, you need your vitamin D and resveratrol that's
right.
infused
Bernie,
into
We haven't
it.
I'm
seen
glad you
sun
said
in a
that.
week.
December 15th was the last time we've had sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. It's going on 3 weeks.
So unfortunately, I'm not saying this for a sales line, but we won't see it for a while. And
At least the next week, there's no sun in the
And in the
forecast.
Midwest, we're all vitamin D deficient this time
That's
of
a
the year.
fact.
So any way you could infuse and get your vitamin D, I highly recommend
Yes,
it. Whether
'cause
it's
you're
my
right.
stuff or not.
We're
You
all
need-
deficient.
Yeah.
We have to ask you to weigh in on what was the hot topic of today, and that's Comeback Player of the Year award. You heard some of the stats. You heard some of the arguments. If you had a vote, who gets it?
Well, I spent my first podcast
That's right. Thank you,
with
Bert.
Adam the Bull here,
blowing up,
having
blowing
it,
up.
and had a blast with it. But I'm actually kind of festive and laughing because it's almost like that's the type of question we used to do this whole century when the Browns weren't in the playoffs.
Talk about Bernie.
we would OCD on this
Now we
type
can-
stuff.
Yeah.
So I found it fascinating to think about Baker and Matthew Stafford, but man, I am still so in on my Joe Flacco.
Oh, so you
All
agree
in
with
Patrick
Albert?
Rose.
Yeah.
You vote for Joe.
So I'm not
Flacco.
saying I'm voting for him. That's all
Yeah.
that's all I think about right now
Listen,
is the
I love
Browns
that
and Joe
story, too.
Flacco.
I love it more than the Baker story. But if you had a vote, who would get it?
So, and I'm trying to be on the fence and stuff because I like really all 3 quarterbacks. And what Baker's done this year, coming back and a shout out to kind of the old school offense that's going out there. Tom Moore is an analyst / coordinator down in Tampa. Yeah. Peyton Manning's guru,
Yes.
OC guy. So he's done great stuff with Bake, and I concur with the vision and the competition and stuff. I love how Matthew Stafford plays. I'm not just saying that to be nice to you, but I've always been all in on him. So
I love him too.
I don't even know if he was regressed other than the team did around him. But again, I've almost laser focused with health, family, and the holidays, and the football part of it. I'm staring at that orange helmet right now, and all I could think about is how awesome Coach Stefanski and Joe Flacco have been this last 6 weeks.
You didn't give us an answer.
No?
He just said Flacco.
Give him Flacco.
No. He said I wouldn't vote for Flacco, but I like that story.
By the way,
but
listen.
And it's
like,
hard.
who are you voting for?
Right now,
There's no fence riding here, Bern. You know that.
well, like I said, I like all those quarterbacks, but I'm so fixated on what we're doing with Cleveland and Joe
got
Flacco.
Flacco.
I'm Flacco. I love him.
you are
And the
voting
only
for
reason why I'm hedging on the fence is because Joe said, hey, I'm not a comeback player. I was hanging out resting, so I don't want to insult him by saying it. Because he's 16 years of top-tier playing, and for him to come in here and just keep dominating like this,
it doesn't bother you that he's played in less than a third of the team's games.
Oh, nothing about him and the Cleveland Browns bothers me right now.
If he had played
Bro,
like this-
nothing bothers me
If
about
he had played
him.
like this for 4 or 5 more games, it'd be a no-brainer.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I extrapolated his numbers. If you take his numbers for 5 games and spread them out over a season, he would throw for over 40 touchdowns.
But-
However, he'd have over 20. How many? He'd have 25 picks, I think.
He'd throw for 5,500 yards, 42 touchdowns, 29 picks.
See, the 29 picks for me is dicey.
For how many yards?
5,500.
5,500.
Oh, stop playing with me. Joe, see, this is the thing, Bernie. They don't be getting this. See, when you got game managers that throw picks, you're in trouble. because they don't have the skill set or the arm to get you back in the game.
He can dig himself out of his own
Joe
hole.
Flacco.
You're right on. Keep going.
Joe Flacco will throw one and say, I got the courage and the arm to come back and throw a bomb.
He has through 5 games. Let's hope
Right.
that's
That's why the catalyst for winning.
That's why the Bills don't worry about Josh Allen's picks.
Right. He'll throw 1, 2, and he'll throw right through it and stuff. So, but again, I'm still fixated on. I'm still loving who we're going to play in the playoffs, and we are for sure a playoff team right now. So, how you even said the statement, if you would, hey, God, if Joe would have played 4 or 5 more games and you extrapolate it out, man, you have this awesome stats, and maybe then he's comeback player of the year. And truthfully, and not to be a prick or anything, I got scared and I said, like, I don't want Joe to have 4 or 5 more games.
You're right.
He's peaking right now.
Yeah.
He's peaking. It's like he's getting ready. So if Coach Stefanski and Joe Flacco do not think he needs to play
Do you
this
bench
week,
him Sunday?
well,
He is benched.
well, if they don't think he needs to play, I concur, because nothing those two have done has been wrong right now. So his arm, after 16 years in the league, at this time of year, we all would be saying it's great, it's the best it's been. It's not. So for him to have not taken all that wear and tear, and for him to genuinely probably be telling the truth, is awesome for us Browns fans.
Yeah, one question about that. The last time this organization played a game in the regular season in which they had already clinched a playoff spot, you were the quarterback. How did you guys manage that game? Because a lot of people say it's meaningless. Some people will say you want to keep winning. You don't want to break that. So how did you guys handle it?
So this is old school days when the life was a lot different, how you looked at things. So every day was a war, every game was. I don't even want to say those type words here now. But I wanted to play, we played, that's how we got to our 12th win, and we kept the drill going. But at the end of the day, I was banged up, we were sore, we missed some guys towards the end of the year. So it's a balance, and I love how Coach Stefanski and Andrew Berry and the team are trying to figure out what's perfectly right, because we have now, again, we said it the last couple weeks, nobody wants to play the Cleveland Browns right
Bernie,
now.
let me ask you. We talked before about like Myles Garrett, one Defensive Player of the Year. Kevin Stefanski doesn't want Myles Garrett to play. If Kevin Stefanski's like, Myles, you're not playing, and Myles comes to him and says, Coach, I really want to play this game. I can rack up some sacks. Like, what do you say if you're the coach?
So I actually think the team is kind of overridden all this right now.
Yeah.
And I'd be hard-pressed to believe that a individual who's a great team guy like that is going to have an individual meeting with the head coach and say, hey, bro, I could use a few more sacks, or I could use a few more scores.
But he has come out publicly numerous times and said he wants this award.
And
it means a lot to him.
And it does mean a lot. It's just, is he going to get it? Okay. And what is he really going to come ask for it?
I don't think he would.
So I love the fact that he wants to play. He is massively essential to what happens in January right now. So shoulders, all those little things. That's one guy I would absolutely err on the side of caution.
He looks like, you look at that picture of him throwing the football, it looks like a freaking cartoon character. I don't know if we can go back to that picture.
Have you ever seen a player that, like,
We'll put up a
incredible looking as Myles Garrett? I mean, he is incredible. He's a physical marvel.
We're coming from comeback player of the year to our shower skills. I showered with 60 males. Okay, so it's
Who's the best looking guy in the shower?
It's part of why I say you matter, and you need a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem to be able to shower there with all the boys, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Look at this guy. It's ridiculous.
Well, now you got me scared. I'm thinking of that's not how I looked in the shower.
we got to get off.
I'm guessing Leroy didn't look like that in the shower.
We got to get
Bernie,
off
I have a question for you real quick.
Oh, come on.
We got to get off the shower game, bro.
Yeah, Bernie,
Mike?
I have a question for Bernie. And we talked about this, and Flacco's going to rest. And I was a little hesitant to rest Flacco because whatever he's doing right now, as you alluded to, is working. He's in the zone. He's in the rhythm. Mm-hmm. From a quarterback standpoint, when you're in that zone, does an extra week off, can that take you out of the proverbial zone, or is the proverbial zone just not even real?
So I wrestle with that same set of questions and the same way of thinking about it. Like we had said earlier, I like playing. I want to keep playing with it. but it's a mindset of it. And so if, depending on what Joe's mindset is and his ability to handle it, and Coach Stefanski, I was the guy that erred on the side of playing. I unfortunately erred on the side of wanting the guys around me to play. And then I erred on the side of getting them guys and me hurt. So so it's not always right. And
well, Bradley Chubb from Miami gets hurt in a 30-point blowout.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody in Miami right now is asking one question. Mike, what are you doing? Why is he on the field during that?
So, and things, and Coach Stefanski said, you can't rest everybody. So I absolutely get that. So I wanted to play, but then also when the games weren't meaningful, and you were just playing to play to stay in tune, it's actually sometimes harder because you could actually get yourself hurt.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you more likely to get hurt?
Because you're not as intense.
Matter?
So like in preseason games and in games where I knew didn't matter, like the game that I played when the playoffs were on the line, you're just not as into it. So if Joe Flacco could have another level of intensity and say as into it, but then you still are risking it. So I believe he's got the maturity and the gifts to be able to make that decision.
Let me give you this, Bernie. I want to see if you caught this. During the game against the Jets, Joe Flacco drops back. He threw the football, and Cedric Tillman ran the wrong route. And you saw the animated Joe Flacco. Yeah. And the thing about
all right, my man.
And the thing about him being animated, I loved it because it was almost saying, honeymoon's over. He's taking control of the huddle, and he's the leader. And for him to admonish him at that point shows me that he's getting comfortable to a point where he's taking ownership. What did you see in that interaction, and what did you think when you saw that on the screen?
All right, he's the man. I love it. Okay, I love it so much, and I could get a little lengthy here in my answer for that. And first, let me say with number 19, Cedric Tillman and stuff, I love how that rookie's using his hands and the way he goes after it, and his strong hands for a rookie. And I'm not sure I was all in on the Donovan Peoples trade earlier in the year, but I see why now, because they wanted Tillman to get on the field and stuff and start making some plays. So that being said, before I crucify him, you could see Joe was really PO'd off because, and that gives Coach Stefanski a lot of credit, calling a play to a rook on 4th down like that, and Joe believing him shows that probably was a cool draft pick, and that kid's been really aspiring. So for the future, having a younger receiver like that they believe could throw on 4th down like that. But there are hard and fast rules. Moses came down with the 10 commandments and gave us 10 laws. Us quarterbacks have about a dozen of them. And when you're throwing in the middle of the field on 4th down, in my day, you can never throw from the chest up because you would get decapitated and killed. But now you're not allowed to kill the defenseless receiver. So either it's got to be the high throw, which is, I believe, what Joe was trying to get to him, or thou must cross the face of the inside slot defender. So it's either got to be up high and go get it, or he did not cross the face of the defender. And that's, again, I'm trying to be funny, but that's punishable by death. Okay? As quarterbacks and receivers, I love you, all my receivers.
And
you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay? And there's a communication. And for him to do that and know it, okay, and then feel comfortable, being the leader. He's the leader right now. Yeah. He's the leader. It's awesome. Yeah. It's good stuff.
So let's talk about a guy who's not made a lot of mistakes in a very long time. Your guy, David Njoku. I don't know if you saw this, but last night he got picked for the Pro Bowl. One of the 2 tight ends in the Pro Bowl, along with Travis Kelce. You've loved this guy forever, and he's put it all together this year as one of the 2 best tight ends in the AFC.
Isn't it gorgeous that we're talking about 11 guys on our Cleveland Browns, 5 starters, 6 alternates. And let me, continue the David Njoku Chief bandwagon, because the play on the field is unbelievable. The play off the field, his yak yards after the catch is glaringly awesome. But again, I'll go to the little things that he's doing on top of those big things. Boy, we're struggling again with the injuries at the tackle position, and the way he's blocking, a 2-way player. He's dominating the line of scrimmage. I mean, the Jets have a top-tier defense, And it was neutralized by Joe Flacco and guys like David Njoku. And David, the way he's blocking and running right now, I mean, he's special.
I know that he had a good start to the season with all these other quarterbacks, but it seems that Joe Flacco has unlocked another level to Njoku. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm super biased towards is I really love Coach Stefanski's offense. And Joe Flacco in the Coach Stefanski offense with play action pass and a deep understanding of protections and checkdowns. And one of the big things that, again, I'm not trying to take all this credit for it, but me and Chief spent a lot of time together over the last 4 or 5 years, especially during COVID and stuff. So really talking to you young tight ends out there to develop that rapport with your quarterbacks and to talk with them. And a lot of times, half the time, tight ends don't go out in 6, 7, 8-man protection schemes. And understanding your checkdowns and understanding guys right in front of you and developing that rapport. So in adverse situations, you know who your security blanket is. David Njoku did that back with Baker and stuff. He tried to do it. He's really evolved, and he's hit the nirvana sweet spot of it with Joe Flacco. And because Joe is a play action, deep throwing guy, we love our checkdowns in front of us. So I don't want to look dumb on TV here, so I'm going to look above the camera, but the checkdowns are in front of us. Why we were talking about Joe could throw a pick and then come right back at it, who cares, and look down the field, because he's looking down the field, because he can wait that extra 2/10, 3/10 of a second, and if Amari Cooper isn't there, Elijah Moore, boom, right to Chief. And that's what's happened. I mean, we had a 3rd and 15 check down, go for 25 yards against the Jets.
That was huge.
God, that's like Christmas morning for us quarterbacks.
We've talked a lot about what happens with Flacco. Will they bring him back next year? It's likely that someone else is.
I'll be his agent. I'm bringing him back.
I'm with you.
I love him.
I'm totally with you. I think that he's proven that he's going to be a safety net. There are others that say it might be a problem for Deshaun. Let me ask the question this way. Let's just say Flacco does go away. The one thing, to me, that we've learned from this experiment is Stefanski's offense has clearly been its best with Baker in the playoff year and with Flacco right now. We know that he has always deferred to what the quarterback wants to do. Stefanski has said that many times. I got to get with Deshaun and give him things that he's comfortable with. That's great. I understand that. But what we've seen from Stefanski's sort of morphing offense is that this is the best version of it. I think the best thing that could come from this is Deshaun watching this and saying, oh, I get it now. You can have success under center, play action. Maybe they just take Deshaun and plug him in to this version of the offense, which is clearly different than the one he ran, and Deshaun can have the same success that Baker had in it and that Flacco's having in it. Let's stick with this offense. Is that a possibility?
So I absolutely am all in on Deshaun and all in on Joe. And that's not trying to play the fence on it. I absolutely think, and it's not a Deshaun indictment. This is a league indictment, a system indictment. Almost nobody played this type of system that liked you 6 weeks ago to 3 years ago. And right. Stefanski, you had to justify. You sat in all kinds of meetings, shows, cocktail parties, having to justify why this is a damn good system. So really, it's not Deshaun's fault. The league and the world doesn't like this system up until about the last month or so. So to your astute point, I so believe that we're all always trying to learn, and we also try to keep adding to our game, and I believe Deshaun is going to see how that adds to his game with that. And I actually think that Deshaun, Joe, and Kevin Stefanski, look, this is a long year football season. To have all of us together, I mean, that is heaven for the Cleveland Browns in 2024.
You're a perfect example of why it would work. I don't understand why people keep saying, first of all, Deshaun wouldn't have a problem with it. Unequivocally, he's a student in the game. He would not have a problem with it. Yeah. Not even a thought. Third, I'm going to go to skip to all the way to the third. Bernie Kosar was on the Miami Dolphins with Dan Marino, two of the best minds in the world. They didn't have no problem Why would you not? And Bernie was calling plays. He was so think about it. You had
that's really where I'd like to see us go with it. But me with Troy
for a mind piece.
Here's what I heard. Okay, here's what I heard. That the problem is because obviously you'd like to have Joe Flacco back as your backup quarterback next year. You've been in the locker room. You tell me. I have heard that the problem is that if Watson doesn't play well, there's going to be guys in the locker room being like, why are we not playing Flacco? And that could be a problem.
So that's a fair point, but there's guys that aren't going to like us if we suck anyways. Okay, so if we aren't playing up to tier, okay, this will be an issue whether Joe's on the team or not. If it does not play good, actually, I think it could be more of an issue with it. So I believe there'd be, to your point, G. Bush, look, we don't like, we love harmonious success. And to see that if Joe could help me and I'm Deshaun, I'm all in on it. And I say this bad joke, and it's terrible around the holidays, but when it comes to football and stuff, if somebody could help you and stuff, you're going to cut Jesus and you're going to hire the devil, okay, to come in and help you.
That's the mentality of the league.
I mean, that is the sickness of the way you look. I hate saying that on TV.
Devil runs a fast 40.
Yes.
It does.
If Joe could teach, there's so many different things like, footwork, play action game. What are you looking at pre-snap, post-snap? The way you study. Think about this. You got a guy who came off his couch and came into the league of elite people and is dominating. But here's the thing. Let me finish this.
Yeah, go ahead.
But if you have that, I want to know how you were able to do that.
I would too. I'm not. Listen, at this point, I'm with you guys. I would bring Flacco back. I'm just, we can talk a little more about it.
And I understand it is human nature. Whenever there's a situation where your understudy starts outperforming you, it's human nature to say, wow, is this dude here to take my job? And in a lot of scenarios, Bull, I think you're exactly right. I mean, look at Brett Favre, how sticky he got when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. Look at Aaron Rodgers, how sticky he got when they drafted Jordan Love. They don't like it when the replacement is in the room. However, this case is different, and here's why. It's not like he's in a contract year and playing for dollar. To quote you, he's got his bag. And he's going to be a millionaire the rest of his life. No matter what happens, he has secured his financial future. I would want the personality that says, bring the competition.
So,
I would want that.
Bring it.
And I concur with you. And I actually think, too, that would help actually the situation is, and again, I'm going to show my age and stuff, but almost like my biggest brother, my best friend in the whole world who helped me was Gary Danielson. And there's a separation of maybe 10 years in our life, okay? There's a separation of age between Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson that I really think will help alleviate this issue. Joe will be 17 years next year. One of the things why I lust and love after him this year, and what we started talking about here, is that he hasn't broken down because he's played about a half dozen games.
Right.
That's a long season. Look, we've gone through we're going to have our fifth starting quarterback win a game to win a 12th game for only the second time in Browns history. So you need these guys. So I really believe the stars are going to be aligned, and hopefully maturity plays in that we could all get.
You embraced Gary Danielson, and I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. How influential was Gary Danielson on your long-term career and success?
It's everything for it, and even my life afterwards. That influence, when you have somebody like that, to where at the tightest, toughest parts of your life. Look, we're all trying to pretend we're cool. We're sitting here on TV trying to look into the camera, being smart and articulate and productive and stuff. It's the same as young quarterbacks. And when you're not, and we have to act like that, and then you have a guy who actually teaches you how to do it, and his selflessness, and he imparts his wisdom on you. You can't thank him enough, and I believe that Joe Flacco has that kind of spirituality and gift in him, because he could have held our Browns hostage. I mean, look at that crap contract he signed.
I know.
He got nothing. Right. I mean, he's playing for free. What a great brother. Like, come on. This guy's a giver. This is a gift for us here.
By the way, guys, it's not going to matter because when Flacco wins the Super Bowl, he's going to ride into the sunset.
No way. No
Now-
way a
now
quarterback
that's it.
retires.
Now that's the
hang it
catch.
up.
Peyton Manning.
That's the catch-22.
Yeah.
Manning retired.
Yeah, but Manning was a bad quarterback at that time. Manning was not. That was the worst season he'd had since his rookie year.
Agreed, but they would have brought him back if he
But
wanted to.
Bernie,
Didn't
help me out
LA
here.
retire?
If you're 38 years old and you win a Super Bowl and you've played at an MVP caliber level for 5 weeks,
By the way,
I'm not
Jake,
retiring.
Think about what you're doing right now. You're arguing that instead of you didn't argue that the Browns could win the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. Think about that for a minute.
No, I did. Remember when we said what are their odds they win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I told you and you said you're out of your tree. Remember that?
No, I'm saying you're not.
So-
Not. The fact that you're not even saying it's crazy.
Oh,
that
I
they
see
could
what
win
you're
the Super
saying.
Bowl
Yeah, no,
is exciting.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
glad that we're in that position. But man, if I'm Joe Flacco and I carry this to a Super Bowl, there's no way I walk.
You don't think he's going to walk off?
There's too much money on the table to not walk.
Well, you could see money's not relevant as big a factor with him, or he would have held us up.
Sure.
For that. And one thing I'm not putting myself in Joe Flacco's shoes, but I want to because it's so much fun and you're so awesome, brother, and stuff. But that question, because I'm trying to answer it from a Joe's perspective, and I'm not trying to hedge on it. I guarantee you, he's not thinking 1 second about it.
Forget next
His love and
He's in the
lust
moment.
for the
That's it.
moment,
Yeah.
and that's contagious to the locker room. That's contagious to the organization, and that's so friggin' dangerous to any team, any city
How's
we're gonna fly into, brothers. You don't want to see us.
We're out of time. Is Bernie, are you sticking around for overtime?
I
or
can
no?
hang around a
He's
little,
got-
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We're gonna do that test run of the FanDuel thing. So
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, we gotta.
okay.
Thank you, Bernie, but we gotta.
All right, Bernie,
I'll
awesome
see you
later.
stuff. Happy New
You
Year.
guys are throwing me out then?
Yeah, well, don't throw Bernie out. Let's test run it another time.
Well, I think we're doing an
Come
NBA
on.
topic. I don't think Bernie wants to talk about
You know what? We'll just do it next week. We'll just throw it to next week.
Yeah!
Bernie, stick around.
Bernie's sticking around. Called an executive decision.